Ooh. Hope you feel better, Ambien.
1 minute.
Knights. Oh, Golden Knights. Unless you're talking UCF.
I was going to say the Atlanta Knights folded a long time ago.
I was going to say, I didn't realize you got all that excited about a first-round win in the AAC baseball tournament. Although, let me tell you, South Florida may have cost East Carolina a regional.
They beat them, huh?
They scored 6 in the 9th and 1 in the 11th. Yeah.
30.
East Carolina lost in the number 1 seed in the tournament. Now they're in the losers bracket and what have you. But unless, if they go out pretty quickly here in the AAC tournament, that could cost them, because they're like a 15 seed or something. I mean, they're barely holding on to hosting a regional, maybe.
There you go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great, David. Doing great. A little better than the Heat. Not as good as the Golden Knights.
Listen, I need some money.
I figured you did.
I don't normally do this on air. Whenever I hit you up for money, a couple bucks here for a beverage, or hey, can you spare me a 20? I didn't hit the bank on
Right.
my way in.
Can you
type deal.
sponsor lunch today? Right.
Yeah.
That's
Hey, right. Listen, we're going out. How about you get this one? I'll get the next one, that type of deal. But listen, I don't know if you're aware. We have an LLC, a joint LLC.
yeah, you emptied it yesterday.
I did. See, the Miami Heat were only having to lay a point and a half against the Celtics, the team they've humiliated over the last week. So, I mean, this is the biggest lock since, the Patriots against the Giants. This is the biggest lock since, I don't know, USC against Stanford with Reggie Bush back in the day. I mean, come on, this was a joke. So I made an investment on our behalf. I don't know why the bank allowed me to do that. Technically, we both have to go in on something like this, but I badgered and berated the guy, and basically just wore them down. And by the middle of the afternoon, they gave me the money, and so I placed the bet. And Mark, I don't know if you're aware, but the Celtics beat the Heat last night.
And this just in, they made another 3-pointer on a run after a timeout.
They also made some coaching adjustments. I didn't realize they still had a coach. I thought he had been let go or he had quit after game 3. They had somebody who acted as head coach last night. I mean, he called the timeouts and everything. Adjusted how they were going to defend the Heat, adjusted how they were going to attack the Heat. I mean, I'll bet Celtics fans wish this had happened earlier in the series, but hey, somebody showed up to coach the Celtics in the last 48 hours. And not only that, Jason Tatum emerged from the witness protection program
In the fourth quarter.
I actually saw him hit shots in the fourth quarter last night.
No. You're right. You're right.
Mark, the reason that I gambled all our money was he had not hit a single shot in the fourth quarter in the first 3 games of the series. And for those that want to say, well, he hardly played in game 3. Yeah, because he hadn't hit shots in the first 3 quarters of it. So they sat him for the rest of game 3. So, we're cash poor is what I'm trying to say.
Well, it happens. We'll build it up again.
I mean,
Apparently, I don't normally do this. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. We need your subscriptions.
right. I mean, any help would be appreciated. Send them care of Mark Miller because, well, my name has been taken off the account.
I'm in the process of doing that right now.
Oh, trust me. Trust me, it's already been done. I did it to protect you.
I was going to say it's tough to change the name on an account that has a 0 balance.
Well, it's not true, Mark. It's not true. Okay. I always leave just a little something in it. Like I deleted a personal savings account recently. All right. It had a ton of money in it. I mean, 5 figures. The first digit was crooked. I mean, there was actually money in that account. I left $84.39.
Why?
Because I'm that kind of a guy.
You are something.
Yep. Just I'm not gonna make it 000. No. That's dangerous. Don't want to do that. Then the bank might think it's closed. The whole deal. No, it's not closed. It's emptied. Big difference. That's like taking the car, putting it in the driveway, not running it for a while. Car still runs. We're just not running it right now. So it's the same with our account. There's $6.17 left in our LLC.
Well, that's good. You got to start somewhere, David. Got to build from somewhere.
Exactly. And besides, Mark, it's not like our LLC had a ton of money in it anyway. But that's a whole other story. So there you go. We're back to the grind, Mark. Back to the grind. I appreciate, mean, you've called me up on occasion and said, "Hey, I need this, a little something for this." Sure, no problem. We have that kind of a relationship. I asked a big favor last night. And what did I say? It was a sure thing. It was a sure thing. And deep down, you knew there's no such thing. But I talked you into it also. You didn't stop me yesterday during the show. You chuckled. You said, "Oh, Mush is probably at it again, but I don't know. After what I've seen in the last week, he'll probably get this one right." No, Mark. No. When big money's at stake, I don't get it right. Don't you know that by now? You hooched your career to that wagon. That's a you problem.
Every time Missoula called a timeout, they went on a run. Every single time. An 18-0 run in the third quarter, a 12-0 run in the fourth quarter.
What the 18-0 run? I'm yelling at the TV. What is going on here? Sounded like Lombardi on the sidelines against the Rams. Grab. It's all we're doing out there. The heck? We were up 9. This series was 10 minutes away from being over. 8, and then the Heat cut it to like 4 or 5 again. It's like, okay, it's the fourth quarter. Celtics are going to fall apart like a tin watch right here. Timeout.
It was Miami who started turning the ball over in the fourth.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler started missing 4-footers. What the heck? Who's he, by the way? Because there was a guy on the team the first 3 games. He was Jimmy Buckets. Who's this Jimmy Butler guy? Oh, well. $6.17. I got it all on the Heat in game 5.
We'll build it back up. Don't you worry, David.
Yep. Maybe, you know what? How about if we bet the Rays on a Tuesday night against the Jays? They're slumping. They've lost 7 out of 8. What do you say? No? Is that not a good bet? Do you know the Rays? Mark, they've only lost 4 home games. They're damn near Memorial Day. They've lost 4 home games. How'd they do last night?
The good news, David, their run differential is still plus 107.
That's pretty good.
Considering it was plus 126 heading into the night.
Wait a minute. That means they lost by 19 runs last night.
That would be correct.
What?
That would be correct. 20-1, your final.
You're trying to tell me the Rays lost at home by 19 and the Heat lost at home by 17? Seriously. No way. I got the $6.17 I got left. I'm betting against that daily double right there. No way. What are the odds?
Not only that, but to add salt on the wound, the Marlins lost their second 1-run game of the year.
What?
It's all coming to an end.
Terrible.
So this is it?
It was a rough night.
The Heat and Panthers will never win again?
No.
The Marlins are going to assume their spot at the bottom of the standings? What? About to break into Belushi here if you don't stop me. Over.
I will say all the Panthers need is Brooks Koepka to be back at the game and not blink again.
Apparently the LIV's playing this week, so, I don't know if and DJ was there too with Paulina. I don't know if they can, go out on a Wednesday night also before flying to wherever the heck they're flying.
They're in Washington, D.C. this weekend.
All right. It's about a 90-minute flight, whatever. So, man. I don't know.
You haven't pulled money out, at least that I'm aware of, throughout these playoffs. You've said, I think this way, I think that way. Last night was the first time you went to the wallet. And
yeah. I have gone to the wallet before, but I had not gone to the wallet the way I did last night. Oh, no. No. I just went to the wallet last night. Oh, no. I mean, I started pondering, how much do I have on this? How much do I have on this? Oh, no. I was not kidding around yesterday when I said, no, take out a business loan on this baby. That's how much money we're going to win tonight. First off, Mark, I thought Congress had passed a law that no two teams in the same series could win a game in the conference finals. I mean, I thought it had been passed. Nuggets 4-0, Heat 3-0, Florida 3-0, Vegas 2-0. I mean, what do we got there? 12-0? I mean, we had not had another team. I thought a law was passed. Lakers, Celtics, Canes, Stars were not allowed to win a game. Figured the fix was in. We'd take advantage of it.
Celtics didn't get the memo. And last night looked really good. They won a game.
They look like the Boston Celtics. What the heck? Which one were the imposters?
It's amazing what happens when the three ball goes in, isn't it?
So is that all it was? Okay.
18 3.
18 threes.
He made 19 in game 3. You know, that usually equivalates to winning, especially when the other team hits, 9, 10.
That seems to be a big difference. Do some quick math.
He made 8 threes.
So 18 to 8, 3 points a 3, 10. That's a 30-point differential, guys.
Good math.
Wow. Well, I'm good at math. I mean, I know how much money I lost. Trust me, I'm right on top of it.
I do now too. Love getting those alerts from the bank saying, did you mean to withdraw all of the money from this account?
Hey, you didn't get the insufficient funds email. I stopped just short of that alert.
Miller and Moulton, two guys that resemble insufficient funds.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, did anybody check out the over-under on last night's game?
I did not.
It was 215.5. Oh, baby. Paul, game one was very even. I actually thought the Panthers had the edge in overtime.
$15.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. How you doing on this hump day? Week going all right so far? Miller and Mush here on the Florida Sports Network. Florida Sports Network. I've had to change my name heading into the witness protection program soon after losing a lot of money last night on the Miami Heat. Most of it was mine, but some of it was others. So,
And by others, he means me.
yeah, there were others too. I mean,
Your wife's money?
right. I mean, she doesn't fully understand how much money she lost last night. I don't even know if I'll take the time to explain it to her. She's busy with other things right now. Maybe she won't notice. Mark, like a degenerate gambler, maybe I'll be able to make it back so that she never notices. That's worked out so well over the years, right? That's a hell of a plan A. That's a hell of a plan A. By the way, gambling. You know what the over-under was on the Heat Celtics game last night? 215.5. Anybody want to add up what 116 to 99 equals? I'll give you a hint. It's 2:15. Ha ha! Woo! There you go. That's how they get people to watch sports to the bitter end. Heat may have pulled their starters with 1:41 to go. A few people paid attention to those last 101 seconds.
I think it was right after the Lowry turnover and the 3 that I turned it off with about 5-6 minutes to go that I said, well, that's it.
Yeah.
That's enough for me.
The Heat were able to respond to every single punch the Celtics gave them in the first half. It didn't seem like they responded once in the second half.
Well, it's funny, though. 9.5 minutes to go. They're down, 4, 5?
Yeah.
I mean, the first media timeout or Celtics take a timeout early fourth quarter. The Heat have cut it to 5, and you're thinking, well, hell, the games 1 and 2. You know, the Celtics fall apart from here. The Heat take over. Heat are going to win. And not last night.
No, the Heat responded after that run with about 3 turnovers of their own. The Celtics got comfortably in front and never let up at that point.
Yeah, I believe a 12-0 run after that. And, maybe we go to sleep a little early or earlier. No need to watch the post-game show, right? So now the Panthers take their shot tonight. Can they close it out at home? And then get Mark, the NHL may trump the NBA. I mean, they're talking about a June 3rd game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. What the heck? This thing could be over tomorrow. I mean, honestly, you're going to give these guys a week and a half off in hockey? I mean, what are we taking, an Olympic break here? Are you serious?
This really has bothered you, the fact that there's could be a week off when you are the one who have said these are made for television products. Even hockey now, with the fact that they set the dates.
Well, no, I get it for the NBA and ABC. That's a network. I get it. It's much more difficult to move things on a network. Okay? Come on. TNT doesn't really have a nightly lineup. I mean, they don't. Are we running sports tonight? No. Nah. All right. Find some movies. We haven't run that one in about 7 weeks. Run it. Hey, you can always run The Godfather. Part 2. Yeah. In fact, run them back to back. How about that? There you go. That's Wednesday night. Run a Fast and Furious thing on Thursday. Yeah, I don't know. Grab like 2, 5, and 9. Run them. Yeah. I mean, Mark, it's TNT. It honestly, it takes an email to change the lineup. If I'm the NHL, also, I want to take advantage of when the NBA's not playing. Like, the whole sports world might actually have to pay attention to you and talk about you. But you're going to actually take more time off? You're going to start after them? What, you think people are going to talk about you during that time? They don't talk about you the other 51 weeks. Why are they going to talk about you now? They'll talk about LeBron and whether or not he's going to retire. No, play sports. Give them something they have to cover, talk about.
Trust me, if they're playing, they'd still be talking about LeBron and whether or not he's going to retire, David. That's a bigger story than the Stanley Cup final.
It is, but maybe they'd only talk about it 60% of the time. I'm telling you, they might have to. Remember, ESPN's now back in the hockey business. But you can't take a week off. Then all those NBA anchors will go, well, I don't have to talk about hockey this week. Thank goodness. I mean, we'll just send, Butchergross and Melrose on location, and they can do a 3-minute stand up and send it to us, and we'll run it. That's our coverage. Back to you in the studio. Yeah, you're damn right it's bothering me. Panthers, let's just say Panthers win tonight and Vegas wraps this thing up Thursday. When should game 1 be?
Sunday.
At worst, Monday night in Vegas. If you want to account everybody, all right, we make our travel, the tickets, sponsors, the whole deal, fine. Monday night, Memorial Day night, 8 o'clock TNT. Let's go. By the way, great pregame in Vegas, too. Awesome. It'll be fantastic. And even though there's no Canadian team involved, throw in the Canadian anthem anyway. It's
Enough.
great.
No. Enough. Look, I'm an American. I love this country. I stand for the anthem. I have my whole life. Look at the flag, shut my mouth, put my hands at my sides. Why does NHL coverage feel the need to show the national anthem every damn game? It was fine. We had the old singer in Boston who's now gone, who gave the little fist pump at the end. You got the lady in Tampa who does a terrific job with her blue lipstick and can belt it out, and she's a veteran. So you add that onto it as well, which is terrific.
Uh-huh.
We don't need to see the anthem. This is when broadcasters take commercial breaks. I don't get what the NHL's fascination is with giving us 4 minutes of national anthem time every game.
It's their pomp and circumstance, baby.
Okay.
I mean, what? You want to show the wave? I mean, besides, I think we've got to remember, the league's based north of the border. They love that song. I mean, remember when the anthem goes, when the singer forgets the words north of the border, the Canadian crowd finishes the song. They love their anthems. The league's based in Toronto.
And they don't have any teams left. Their anthem's not going to be played.
Well, that's another reason.
Maybe they just show it because they know they're never going to see it in the final.
It's another reason why they do it. 30 years they haven't won. Okay, it's very painful. All right, this way it keeps their spirits up. So, yeah, it bothers me. Plus, there used to be great. Memorial Day weekend used to be an awesome sports weekend. You know, the Indy 500 in the middle of it. But there was always basketball. I mean, and the NBA Finals. I mean, going back to legendary Lakers Celtics games happened all over Memorial Day weekend. Not going to have no NBA, no NHL. I mean, unless the Celtics win Game 5. You know, at which point we'll get a Game 6 on Saturday.
We shall see. Can Boston win at home and force this thing back to Miami after, well, finally playing a good game last night in the series? Finally hitting shots.
No team's ever come back from 3-0 down in the NBA and won. Only 3 teams have ever forced a Game 7 after being down 3-0. So there.
Miller and Moulton. Great show lined up for you today. Pat Kirwan and Seth Everett all in the 8 o'clock hour. The starting 5 is on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You all right over there? You all right over there?
It's funny. I don't know what's going on this morning. Might be allergies, something. Just also, we've had a lot of rain here for 3 days, and for whatever reason, this morning I've got a few minor aches in like some joints that I don't normally have. So I was getting older.
By the way, during the Heat game, it was pouring in Miami, so fans had to walk back to their cars in floods.
That's a shocker. You go in, the weather is a certain way. Come out 2.5 hours later. Oh, right. Damn.
Biscayne Boulevard's underwater. One minute.
So you know that Eric Cole that was in the PGA that had the lead round one?
Yeah.
He's a Yingling, former Yingling player.
Yeah, you had said that, like one of your buddies texted you and said, hey, you met him.
He ended up T15 as well.
Oh, it's only 300,000.
Right.
That'll play, you know.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. There's some crazy things that went on in the world of sports yesterday, or at least that's what I've got written down. I'm going to need my cohort in crime here to verify whether or not this stuff really happened or whether or not I'm hallucinating. So we'll give it a shot. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Mark. They're claiming that the Celtics beat the Heat last night. Is that true?
That's a fact, David.
Man, I bet a lot of money on the Heat too. It says here the Celtics outscored them 66-43 in the second half. Not the other way around.
Also true, David.
What? Jason Tatum showed up, made it to the game, actually scored points in the second half, and particularly the fourth quarter. Is that true?
Had a field goal right at the start the fourth quarter, something he hadn't done yet in the series.
It says here the Celtics hit 18 threes and the Heat only hit 8.
All facts, David. All facts.
Wow. All right. I guess we're going to have a game 5 in Boston then, 116-99. That's what they said the final was. And so now the Celtics are back to being like a 31-point favorite. You know, I mean, actually, they're 7.5-point favorite right now. It'll go up. It'll go up. Just Dave Portnoy and Bill Simmons bets alone will drive it up. So Dallas was returning home in hockey last night. And this is a very competitive series between Vegas and Dallas. So things are going to change when the scene shifts to Dallas. Yet it says here Vegas scored 3 goals in the first 7 minutes.
One early, a penalty. 5-minute penalty led to another power play. And yes, Vegas jumped on Dallas early and often.
4-0 the final. They're up 3 spit. Game 4 of their series is tomorrow night. Strange game if you look at the stat sheet. Dallas out-hit them. They won a lot more faceoffs than Vegas. They had twice as many shots on goal, and yet they were dominated. Penalty minutes, though, were 35-6. Penalties were 8-3. Tough to win when you're in the box. That's what I've learned over the years. Tonight, do the Panthers get it done? Would be just the second time in franchise history. The last time they did it, Bill Clinton was running for re-election. That's right. It was the spring of 96. Barkov, back from the bar mitzvah, expected to play tonight. You're wondering what I'm talking about. Their captain, Alexander Barkov, got injured in the first period of game 3, didn't play the rest of the game. And Paul Maurice, their coach, was asked, what happened to Barkov? He said he had to go to a bar mitzvah.
Didn't want to upset the kids.
So we gave him the rest of the night off. No, he actually said that. I don't know how you can't root for that coach and this team right now. The Panthers, though, are only 3-3 at home in the playoffs, and yet they're a game away from the finals. Carolina's 3-3 on the road, for what it's worth. Panthers ever so slight favorite tonight. People think that maybe this series goes back to Raleigh. Can Bob continue to be Bob? NFL. Man, you know what the owners do every year, Mark? They wait for the coaches and everybody to like go home. And then they fake as if they're checking out of their rooms, and then they stay for like 2 more days. And they jam through a lot of stuff. And the rest of the league goes, what? One of those things is they changed the kickoff fair catch rule. So now any fair catch places the ball at the 25-yard line. 60% of kickoffs are already touchbacks. The league says the reason they're doing this is the concussion rate on kickoffs is twice as high as any other play. You know what we're headed to?
Just giving them the ball in the damn 25.
Yep. We're like a step away. Although Rich McKay, head of the competition committee, man, does he need to be replaced. But he did say something interesting. I don't know, Mark, if you watched a whole lot of or any XFL this year. They tried. That is kind of a funny statement when you say it out loud. So apparently this is how they did their kickoffs. I'll probably get the yard lines wrong, but so they do the kickoff from, I don't know, 35, 40, wherever. And you, like, if we're kicking off to you, my guys, like, line up on, like, the 30. And apparently your guys line up on, like, the 25. And nobody can move until your returner catches the ball. And so then, you know, whatever, catches it at the 5-yard line. Well, now we're just only 5 yards, and then we're going to make contact. And so the collisions can't be, you know, all that bad. Now, if, you know, you and I are teamed up and you miss me, you miss your block, I could tackle the runner for barely any gain. But so apparently that's how they did kickoffs. And Rich McKay said, got to be honest, at the beginning of the season when I started watching it, I hated it. But it kind of grew on me. So maybe there's one more step before they get rid of the kickoff altogether. By the way, I don't think they can get rid of the kickoff if for no other reason that aren't we going to have some method of onside kick? I mean, if they get rid of kickoffs entirely, aren't they going to have to go to the Greg Schiano, you know, proposal?
Fourth and whatever.
Right. You know, and run a play to try to get the ball back. Austin Eckler was given another $1.75 million in incentives, so he'll now make $8 million this year and become a free agent at the end of the season. 49ers are optimistic Brock Purdy will be ready for week 1, but Kyle Shanahan said, and I quote, "Only God knows for sure," unquote. No word whether or not Lynch is consulting with him next week, but that's when he's expected to start throwing a week from Friday.
Who's he consulting with? God?
God, apparently. Either that or they're just going to sit back and wait for a sign like the rest of us. Broncos released kicker Brandon McManus. He was the last guy left from when they won the Super Bowl. He'd been there 9 years. They saved nearly $5 million. The owners are going to extend Rodgers' contract through 2027. He's 64. There's some talk that that'll be it. So he'll do 5 more seasons, and then he'll call it a day. They've already talked about, and then we'll hire him as a consultant. Why? Does he need the money? I mean, what? Although they are talking about splitting his job in half. Apparently it's that demanding. I don't know. I mean, what? I don't know. One guy to handle the draft, one guy. I don't know. Splitting it in half. Apparently,
TV contracts and discipline.
Yeah, right. He's got a network TV deal for 11 years. I mean, what's the new guy going to have to do? For goodness sake. Baseball. It says here the Rays lost at home. Is that true?
They didn't just lose. They got whooped.
Well, that's the other thing. I have written down they lost 20-1.
That would be the correct score.
10 of the 21s were given up by position players in the last 2 innings. Vlad Guerrero was struck out the first time he faced an everyday player. Second time he faced an everyday player, he hit a grand salami. He had a homer and 6 RBIs. Despite the 19-run setback, the Rays' run differential still plus 107. And they're 20 games above 500. The Yanks have moved within 5, though. They rallied to beat the Orioles last night. Judge homered with 1 out in the 9th to tie it. They rallied from a 4-0 deficit to win an extra inning 6-5. O's remain 3 back of the Rays. Red Sox lost to the Angels 4-0. LA hit 3 homers, including 1 by Trout. It was home run number 361. It ties them for 85th on the all-time list. There are certain guys that even if you're Mike Trout, when you tie or pass, you probably stop and go, I'll be damned. He tied Joe DiMaggio last night. Even Trout after the game said, not a bad center fielder, if I do say so myself. Rockies with 4 in the 5th beat the Marlins 5-4. Miami falls below 500. 20-year-old Yuri Perez, first road game, suffers his first loss. Dodgers now the best record in the National League. Funny how that works out. 8-1 over the Braves. They're 12 games above 500, but Arizona's 10 games above 500. They're just a game and a half back. They edged the Phillies 4-3. Phillies, Mark, have almost the same record at this point of the season that they had last year when they fired Girardi. They're 22-26. Milwaukee snapped Houston's 8-game win streak, 6-0. St. Louis back on the winning trail, 8-5 over Cincinnati. Wainwright the win. Paul Goldschmidt with 2 homers. Cubs scored 4 in the 2nd. Beat the Mets, snapped their 5-game winning streak, 7-2. Texas 6-1 over Pittsburgh. They've got a 2-game lead over the Astros. Pirates fall a game back in Milwaukee. White Sox scored 3 in the 7th, beat Cleveland 4-2. Juan Soto has not done well since being traded from Washington to San Diego. Maybe what he needed to do was play some games in his old ballpark. Hit 3 hits last night, including a homer in Washington. Padres won 7-4. That home run, by the way, is still traveling. It's like 440-something feet. Royals over the Tigers 4-1. Mariners beat the A's 3-2. And the Giants are now 500. They haven't been 500 since like the second week of the season. They rallied to beat the Twins, who are scuffling 4-3. And some college baseball to give you. UCF and South Florida both won. They'll meet tomorrow in the second round of the AAC tournament. But South Florida scored 6 in the 9th and then won it in the 11th against East Carolina. Mark, your son's a proud ECU Pirate. It's a big loss. That may cost them hosting a regional.
They lost one last week to Campbell and then lost this one. It very well could cost them a regional.
In the ASUN tournament, FGCU shut out Jacksonville 7-0. Stetson beat Eastern Kentucky 8-3. Gators in action tonight in the SEC tournament. They're taking on Alabama at 5:30. Miami's in action tomorrow in the ACC tournament. Graham Rahal will replace Stephen Wilson in the Indy 500 field. He got knocked out in a practice crash. Rahal, who got bumped, first guy out, he will replace him. And the magic numbers, ladies and gentlemen, until when we have football. Sorry, the USFL doesn't count. Pick the number of choice. 94 days until week 0. 99 days until Gators and Utes.
There it is. We're under 100 to real football.
So the Gators and UCF kick off their season 99 days from today. And 106 days away, 15 weeks tomorrow, the Chiefs will host the Lions. 94, 99, and 106. At 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Do you think we'll miss the kickoff? Like miss it, if you know what I mean, or will we go, damn, that's a bummer, and that'll be it?
It's a great question, and I think the answer is no, because new fans come on every day. We'll grumble. They've eliminated the kick return pretty much from the game anyhow.
60% of the kickoffs are touchbacks, and the kickoffs really eliminated pre-Thanksgiving. I mean, once weather's involved and the ball doesn't go as far, that's when the kickoff really starts returning to the game.
And that's, half the stadiums each week if you're lucky with the number of domes and where we're playing now. It doesn't affect that many games. So no, I don't think at the end of the day we'll miss it.
Wonder if it'll help or hurt Hester getting into the Hall of Fame. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett, they join us in an hour. Thanks for listening.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Smith just said, I know, but that's not the first time you've done it. If I read his lips correctly. Yeah. And now, Dodger infielders were coming over toward their pitcher. You had Acuna coming out to get Ozuna. Dodgers dugout, or rather bullpen, is also out in the left field. Go back, boys. Nothing to see here. Jesse Chavez.
One minute. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. How's your week to this point, huh? I'm in need of a loan after backing up the truck on the heat last night. All right, I saved $6.17 in the Miller and Moulton LLC account. So Mark, I didn't empty, your money. Of course, you could make the case I only bet my half.
If you only bet your half, there'd be more than $6.17 in the account.
But I was just, I was kind of implying that, we don't have a lot of money.
No, I know, but we had more than $6.17. I'm sure of that.
We did. We even had a comma. We
don't have a comma anymore.
What? Wait.
No, we have $6.17.
Oh, okay. I thought you had done something before I placed the bets. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought there was enough money in it to cover my gambling losses.
No, I just put a freeze on the account this morning.
Took my name off everything. So, hey, there was a funny quote after the game last night. So, some writers trying to find out with the Celtics, what the hell happened? Why'd you guys look like, I don't know, second best team in the NBA in the regular season. And one of the guys apparently told a sports writer, don't use my name. But basically what happened in the last 2 days is we got to the point where we stopped faking liking each other. Okay, now we're talking. There we go. There's our 6 seconds of truth. We didn't get anything after game 3. Now we're talking.
Well, maybe that's what Mazzulla was saying. After he said it's all on me, he said I didn't get them to connect. The whole team hates one another, and it's my fault.
So apparently there's but, listen, it was one guy, unnamed guy, it's a great quote. But, I mean, let's talk about this in real life, too. I mean, isn't this like the family gathering of the holidays? Isn't this where you and I, particularly me, have gotten in trouble in our lives? Because you and I, me more than you, we don't fake liking people.
No, and I don't think it's family. I don't think families are that bad. You and I are from very small families, so we're not the right people to judge what the family dynamic is.
Right.
I do think it's much like any other work environment at any place, that you put aside your bickering and just go do your damn job.
But, I mean, even the littlest of things, like I don't say hi in the hallway to the person I don't like. I don't. Never have. I'm not crazy about you. And you're not crazy about me either. So don't say hi to me. Just keep walking.
Just have it be really uncomfortable and not say anything.
What uncomfortable? You're walking, I'm walking. We're both going somewhere. We're not going to the same place. Okay, just put your head down and keep walking. It's not what I'm not uncomfortable. You're not uncomfortable. I know you. Now, you may say hi.
I say hi to everybody.
Well, then you're just a nicer person than I am.
I don't know about that. I don't like the uncomfortable silence. I don't like walking by someone. If I don't like them, they don't like me, whatever. Hey, not much. It doesn't take anything out of the day. Hey, pass me the ball. I don't like you. If you're open, I'm going to pass you the ball. Now make a shot.
But see, that's different. See, pass me the ball. That's on the court. We're playing. It doesn't matter if you like, love, hate each other. We got a job to do. It's like, quite frankly, you two guys doing a radio show. Okay. It doesn't matter if we like, love, or hate each other. We got to do a show. The show comes first. The audience comes first. We can argue it out or kumbaya it out later. We got a show to do. That's easy. That's the job. I think it's real easy to stop faking you're liking each other on the court. But you say hi to people in the hallways who you don't like?
Every day.
Wow. Wow.
Nearly every day. That's only if I see the person.
Wow. Maybe it explains why I don't get, calls back and what have you.
I don't get it back either. Trust me, we're in the same category. I've done this long enough, David, that I've buried myself in a deep hole. I'm just trying to dig out of it.
I mean, it's the same as, the person who you like, but they're so damn nice that they say hi to you every single time they pass you in the halls. It's enough already. Yes. Hi, I've seen you 8 times already. I like you. You like me. Shut up. Keep walking. Do your damn job.
Boy, I didn't know small talk bothered you that much.
It's the fake like. The fake like. I'm not into fake liking. Ask Danielson, man. Trust me, there are people on that crew who know I wouldn't do a damn thing for them. Nothing. I stand there. I am silent. Don't say a word. If they dropped their papers, I wouldn't pick them up. I'd let them blow away.
Thank goodness you got some pretty good cover at the top there.
Yes, no doubt about it. No
You
doubt
got some
about it.
pretty good cover. See, when you're on your own and pull that, it doesn't work out nearly as well.
Oh, it's true. Works out for me a lot better at CBS and ESPN than and before that Fox than it does locally. That's true.
Yes, because you have an extremely high level of cover when it comes to those
Dude,
network gigs. You had
I
zero
do.
cover. You were
I
out in the
do.
open with snipers all around you, ready to take shots.
Yep. I know. Apparently, the people I work for are important. It's a good thing, too. So, anyway, unnamed player told a writer after the game, we basically just got to the point where we faked liking each other. And basically, they just went out and they played. There we go. All right.
That works when you're making shots. And see, this is where I differ from you, David. And I get that it's just a job, but obviously, if that quote comes out and there's any truth to it at all, when you start missing shots, are you absolutely sure you're going to pass the ball to the guy you don't like when he's not making shots? I'm not. Does that ever get into the dynamic? Are they so upset with one another that when whatever player's not making shots, we're just going away from them? Because guys have been standing around for Boston for 3 games.
I know. You might be right. It might just be it worked because they hit 18 threes. And if they had been like Miami and gone 8 for 32 from 3, they would have looked like the same apparently group of guys. This player then went on to say, we've been kind of together a while. Even though we're young, we're a young veteran group. We got guys in their mid-20s, but they played 7 years with each other. I mean, I don't know. It seems to me as if maybe he's talking about Tatum and Brown. I don't know. It just don't want to read into it or anything, but I mean, take a look at the roster. You figure it out for yourself. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting quote. I thought we'd talk about it. That's something I think we could all relate to. You're right. We both have small families, and fortunately, our families actually, they all really get along. We're both lucky in that sense. But there are bigger families.
Oh, and trust me, I'm an only child, but my dad was one of 5. My mother was one of 5. I have seen the family dynamic that looks like the Celtics starting lineup, David. I've seen it. My dad only went 30 or 40 years without speaking to his sister before he died. I mean, no grudges or anything.
My father's side of the family was huge. And it seemed for about 6 years, Mark, I went to an Irish wake and funeral every 4 to 6 weeks. And my mother had a rule. She said, the family's divided. And sure enough, Mark, you could walk in the funeral home and see the divisions. Okay. Like they literally, the room was divided in fourths or thirds. I mean, you could see the cliques and who was talking to whom. And my mother would literally say, we say hi to everyone. Because if we don't, then the cliques will start forming against us. So my mother always said, we're like 2 of 8 people that gets along with everybody here. But no, this group hates this group, and this group hasn't talked to this group, and right. And I, of course, my family tree was like a stump. So I'm like, what? Wait, what? You don't talk to a family member? I didn't realize that was an option.
It really is. And a lot of people have used it to their demise, or, well, some have thought it's worked out very well for them. Just ask Patrick Reed and Aaron Rodgers.
Right. So I'm just wondering for all of you, you're heading to work or school and, or you go home tonight and just in a side moment with your significant other, do you go, hey, so who is it that we pretend that we like that maybe we get to a point where we stop pretending?
I have a question for you. If your mother taught you to say hi to everybody,
uh-huh,
what the hell happened?
It didn't have to
Because
be genuine.
I understand. We just got done explaining that you do not say hi to people you don't like, and
Right.
you walk past people in the hallway and do not say hello to them. So your mother raised you right. I
She
know
did.
she's listening, and I don't want her
Yes. No.
mad at me because I'm
No.
scared of your mom. And
Well,
I've met her
and-
like 5 times.
And trust me, until I was in my mid-40s, I was too. So,
I'm still scared of her. She makes me a little nervous. I don't know if a shoe's going to come off and come at me if I say the wrong thing, but she taught you right. What the hell happened?
Well, first off, because I had to say hi to everybody until I was like 14, I got a little tired of it. But also, it just, you get older, and also you're following your mother's instructions. Okay, when you get older, you get to make up your own mind. Trust me,
These
my
were
mother
good-
doesn't. My mother doesn't say hi to everybody. Somebody has to die for my mother to say hi to everybody. Otherwise, trust me, she wouldn't pick up your papers if they were blown away either if she didn't like you.
Well, we figured it out. Mom Moulton, great at funerals. Not sure about the rest of the time.
Right. Great at death and dying. That's why she's a nurse.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You know, I wish Pat Narduzzi coached a real program.
Why is that?
Well, he attacked Dion in an interview yesterday, basically saying that's not what the portal's meant to be, and you don't throw kids out. When I got here, I didn't kick kids out of Pitt. Just if he was at a real program, it would be more fun. When you're at Pitt, it doesn't have a lot of weight to it to me. Oh, I know. I get it. But Prime didn't care about NIL either. He cared about the portal. There's, I'm still trying to figure out the lesser schools, what they're really doing NIL-wise. I've not been able to. I would love to see some numbers of what a kid at Michigan State's getting from NIL, what a kid from Pitt's getting from NIL. Did I like the honky-tonk man? No. I mean, I didn't dislike him, but it wasn't one of my guys. Which program has a better history, Colorado or Pitt? I would say Pitt. But that's close. Pitt's been better recently, Paul.
We could go here because there's stuff that's come out this week about what like Bronny and Arch Manning are making.
Right. I get the top guy, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I get top guys are making big money. I just, what? No, DC, you're. It's possible. These are questions. These are the same questions I have. I'm not belittling the process or anybody else for that matter. It's just information I've had trouble trying to find. Like I was told, I don't know if it's true, that Caitlin Clark is far and this was before the tournament started, that she was the highest paid NIL athlete at Iowa last year. Okay. Who's second? Who's 14th? Who's 112th? I'm
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. Seth Everett in a little more than an hour. Happy hump day. Hope your week's going well. I am picking up the pieces after backing up the truck on the Heat last night. Whew. Celtics backed up, rolled over them in the second half. Outscored them by 23 in the second half. Beat them by 17. Game 5 tomorrow night in Boston. Can the Celtics make this series interesting? Put the Heat
spilling on the hill. See if they can get it to a game 5.
Can they just put some pressure on the Heat? Got to admit, it'd be pretty interesting if we had a Saturday night game on South Beach. Don't you think? It'd be pretty interesting. But good for Boston for not laying down 9 early third quarter. Trying to make a series of this yet. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL owners meetings, everything that went on this week, and the stuff that he thinks is going to happen soon enough. Pat to join us in about 40 minutes' time. You said something interesting during the break. Can you say that out loud?
About Pat Narduzzi?
Yeah.
Well, I just said I wish he coached somewhere that was a little more relevant. Because Pitt's a middle-of-the-road program. They're decent. They're not great. They're not god-awful.
Right. They've had 2 good years in a row. 2 years ago, didn't they win the ACC? 2 years ago, and last year they won like 8-9 games, went to the Sun Bowl, had a good solid team.
But he did an interview at the ACC spring meetings with Brandon Marcello, who we've had on the show countless times. And he used it to attack Prime.
Ooh. What'd he say?
He does not like the way he uses the portal. He says that's not the way it's meant to be. It's not what the transfer portal rule was intended to be. It was not to overhaul your roster. We'll see how it works out, but to me, it looks bad on college football coaches across the country. The reflection is on one guy right now, but when you look at it overall, those kids have moms and dads and brothers and sisters and goals in life. I don't know how many of those 70 that left really wanted to leave, or they were kicked in the butt and told to get out. And he goes on to say when he took the Pitt job, he didn't kick anybody out. There wasn't a portal when he took the Pitt job. So it's apples and oranges. But most people that I deal with in my personal life that are sports fans hate the transfer portal.
Why?
I think mainly because it's different. They don't understand it. Guys can get up and leave, even though coaches have been doing it for a while. These are older people who...
Do you think they don't like the young person having the power?
Yes. That, and that they will then take it into making a commitment and being loyal, but the problem is the schools aren't loyal to them. And I think the one thing that's happened through all of this, David, is that the gray shirting and the ways that kids were forced out of schools for the last 40 years was kept so quiet and never really reported on, that I don't think most fans have an idea of how cutthroat college athletics have always been. And that now this transfer portal is almost an equalizer for the kid. But Narduzzi's mad because Deion's overhauling his roster. That they had 51 scholarship players enter the portal. He replaced 47 of them.
Let me ask you this, and this is a serious question. If you were an athletic director, would you, because there are athletic directors who have this policy, would you say to your coaches, hey, we offer a scholarship to a kid, we don't run them off. Okay? We don't run them off. You end up making a mistake with that scholarship, well, that's on you. All right. You work in a city, that I lived in for 23 years. The athletic director at FGCU, he will not let his coaches run guys off just because they screwed up. Kid can't play for me. Hey, we offered him a scholarship. If the kid decides to leave, that's one thing. Okay. But you're not running that kid off. He doesn't believe in it. And I'm just curious, if you were an athletic director, okay, would you say to your coaches, hey, we don't run kids off here. They want to leave, okay, and you want to be, you want to roll out the red carpet and open the door for them and give them a boxed lunch on their way out the door. That's fine. But we don't run kids off here. There are ADs like that.
I think I would be that way. I think I would. You don't know until you're in the situation, but I think I would be that way.
Because obviously, first off, Deion wouldn't go work for an AD like that. And it's tougher to do it, like FGCU doesn't have football. It's tougher to be an AD at a football program. Let's face it, there's a lot more pressure on, involved with a football program and money and all that. So it's tough in 2023 to have that attitude when you've got football. But there are ADs, even in the, high levels of D1, who say to their coaches, figure it out. Put it this way. If you're going to run him off, you better find him a land, at the very least, they say you better find him a landing spot. You are not throwing him out into the street. You call one of your coaching buddies somewhere and say, listen, my number's here. This kid can't play for me, but he can play for you. We're not throwing kids on the street.
Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
To the Bronx we go. The Yanks down 1, bottom of the 9th. Aaron Judge who steps into the batter's box 0 for 3 at the time, facing one of the game's best relief pitchers in Baltimore's Felix Bautista, delivers.
High drive, left field, going back Hayes, track, wall, see ya, tie game, Judge does it, it's 5-5.
Always nice to have Aaron Judge stepping up to the plate in that situation, even if he's 0 for 3. I mean, he is one of the game's best hitters. They tie the game, they win it in extras. That's your clutch play of the day.
Brought to you by Clutch Vodka. Check them out at clutchspirits.com and look for Clutch Vodka wherever you buy your vodka.
Okay. It's easy to talk about when it happens, but we've talked about this now for a couple years. If you're Major League Baseball, don't you want Judge coming to bat in the 9th inning every time?
Yes.
I mean, we all know if it's a tight game, late, Celtics and Heat, whichever team has the ball, we know who's going to have it. It's either Butler or Tatum.
Well, I mean, you'd think it's going to be Butler or Tatum. It just hadn't been Tatum.
Well, no, he'd have the ball. He'd just turn it over. But I'm just wondering, it's the Angels. I mean, don't you want the Angels 9th inning? Don't you want to see Trout and Ohtani? Every time?
Do you have, percentage-wise, 0 to 100, what do you think the odds are of this ever happening?
Before the decade's out, I bet it happens. I really do. I bet it happens.
You put it like a 65, 70% chance of happening.
60-40, it'll happen. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Of what happening?
Of
changing the
able
rule.
to determine their lineup in the 9th inning.
Oh.
Yeah. That whether it's just for the 9th inning or whether you start after 7 innings and you can then set your lineup, whatever. But at the very least in the 9th inning. I mean, the commission, tell you what, Manfred's at the job since 2015. Every time he's spoken up about something, he's made a change. He has brought up many times the end of our games are not as exciting consistently as the other sports. For just this reason, you can't guarantee that your big guys will be up in the 9th. Well, if you change the rule, you can.
And Hobbs in the Twitch chat goes, just don't back up the truck on that, please.
No, I said 60.
You can't back up the truck on anything. There's no money left.
Right.
In order to back up the truck and get that sucker to beep, there's got to be some jing in the account. And the accounts have been depleted. $6.17. That's what's left. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Was the custom batters lineup in the ninth one of those things written on that hidden list in the iPad?
I don't remember, but I think so. No, actually, it wasn't, because they've all but one of those has happened, basically.
And what was the one that
I don't recall, but that wasn't it. I don't think. You have to ask David.
So you know how there's the Twitter accounts where it's like they post blatantly fake sports reports,
Correct?
like Ballsack Sports and Butt Crack Sports. LeBron contemplating playing one season at USC. NIL valuation predicted to be at 100 million. You could actually play NCAA basketball.
You got anything here?
Not anything to do a long segment on.
Well,
I was just asking, the custom lineup wasn't one of those things on that hidden list, right?
no, I don't think so.
And then everything that's happened except one thing, that one thing that hasn't happened yet was what again?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
That's fine.
Do you want to go NIL here?
Well, actually, I wanted to talk about my mother-in-law being high as a kite last night after a medical procedure. And what do you do with an 82-year-old who's high as a kite?
Feed her Doritos.
What?
And she's taking to social media.
Oh,
yes. 3 times my wife ran in, grabbed the phone, said, "Mom, you got to put the phone down. Can't post that, Mom. We got to take that down." Just when you're high, some of the random thoughts that you have. You see something outside, and it just strikes you as funny. All of a sudden, you put a post on Facebook or Instagram or what have you. She knocked something down, spilled stuff all over the place. Didn't think she had spilled anything. Okay. It was the crash, bam, boom. It was like a Batman, cartoon with all the sound effects that was going on.
that's what he should do, Hops. You should pull an MJ and just take a gap year, and you should play for USC. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan, talk all things NFL owners meetings this week. They've actually decided a few things. We'll talk to him about that and anything else going on about the National Football League and about the future of it. Seth Everett, 1 hour from now. I don't know how to bring this up with, I'm just going to spit it out. So
it's never been your problem, David.
So my 82-year-old mother-in-law was high as a kite last night.
Good for her.
Right. Now, there's a medical reason for it.
I don't care what the reason is for it. I'm super impressed. Way to go, mother-in-law.
Listen, I wish we had a bowl of gummies and we passed them out, okay, for the two women that I live with. But that's a whole other story. So she had a medical procedure, and, they had to dull a nerve in her back, and she's living in constant pain. And so it was a painful thing, and so they had to make her feel no pain. Boy, were they successful. So she wasn't quite, the person coming home for the dentist. You know those videos?
Right.
She wasn't there. But she also wasn't here, if you know what I mean. I mean, she was loopy.
And able to stay awake for all of it.
And unfortunately, she was not going to sleep. It would have been in her and our best interest if she had crashed. But she had about 5-6 hours of staying awake in her before she crashed.
That's impressive.
It is, but, you can't talk to your mother-in-law the way you can talk to just about anybody else in your life.
It's a great point, David.
You can't treat your mother-in-law the way that you can just about anybody else in your life. And, she also wouldn't put the phone down. So my wife is hooked up to her mom's social media. So whenever she posts something, my wife instantly knows what it is. And apparently between, Instagram and Facebook, apparently my mother-in-law posts a lot of stuff. And of course I'm on neither, and I don't care. And so all I know is I'm trying to watch a TV show with my wife, and every 12 minutes she's getting up and she's running in to my mother-in-law's bedroom going, "Mom, put the phone down. Mom, you can't post that."
Of course she can.
Well, that's what I thought, right? She's your mother. She could do any damn thing she wants.
Whatever she wants.
Right. But I got to admit, it was nothing, it's not like it was anything racial or, anything that was going to force you to quit a job that you just took 3 days ago at the University of Michigan or anything. All right. But it's just, those loopy observations that you have, like
you
when
you just slid that Schembecker thing right in there. You just slid that in.
I did. I thought that was pretty good, actually.
I thought it was really good.
So it's just, the loopy observations that you have in which you go, look at the bird. Oh, it's a pretty bird. And you just that type of stuff. But all of a sudden you're tweeting it out, and it's like, no. That's not necessary. Just keep it to yourself. And also, there are instructions like go to bed, stay in bed, don't move. Well, she's feeling no pain. Don't move. Hell, she wants to walk. Hell, she may want to start running. That's how good she's feeling.
Did she get the munchies at all?
Got the munchies. Mark, I almost had to go to the grocery store, and that is not an exaggeration. She went through 2 bags of chocolate and like half a thing of Oreos.
That's fantastic.
Yes. Yes. After announcing, by the way, that she wasn't hungry. Right. If it was a sweet and it wasn't nailed down, it was consumed in a 2-hour period of time last night.
Which now I know why your wife was upset. She was eating your wife's chocolate.
Well, there is something to be said to that too. Okay. I did though at one point. I go, it's open for another 45 minutes. I go and it seems like it's going to be a long night. It's kind of like when you don't have enough beer and it's like, do you think we need another 12-pack? I mean, my mother-in-law needed another whatever last night. She really did. What she didn't need was any more drugs. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just think about, what do you do when your mother-in-law is high?
Videotape. That would be my first thought.
Damn, I should have thought of that.
Videotape.
That's how you go viral these days.
Absolutely. Some of those folks that are under anesthetic and they're still awake, and some of the videos that have come from, whether it's, teenage kids to 80-year-old women, they're outstanding.
Right. My generation laughs at humiliation.
Yes.
And profits off humiliation.
Yes. You guys are the ones that posted all the returning from the dentist stuff. You guys love doing that to your friends and to yourself. Right. All right. Mark and I, our generation, we didn't do that. Well, first off, we didn't have the technology to do it, but we wouldn't have done it.
It is a dangerous game, though, and I would have reacted the same way as your wife with the posting while high. That's a dangerous game, just because you don't want to let your mother-in-law's intrusive thoughts take over. So
she's 82. She's high. And she doesn't have her hearing aids in, so she can't hear anything. And she doesn't have her glasses on, so she can't see anything. And she's high, so whatever she does see is kind of wavy anyway. So so all of a sudden there is a large crashing sound that comes from the room. Picture something like falling off a shelf 8 feet off the ground, that type of smash.
Good solid crash.
Right. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Janet's bit the dust. What happened? Okay. And so, wife flies off the couch again, running in. And of course, now remember, she's under orders, bedridden. Okay. She needs to be horizontal. Okay. No movement. Yeah. She's on her hands and knees on the floor. Right.
Doing what?
Exactly. Well, she realizes, okay, something happened, but I got to be honest, she didn't quite know what. She heard something. Okay. But she couldn't see everything that she had smashed. Okay, so she literally, Mark, I imagine like a 10-foot area, and the entire area is a mess. And imagine somebody on all fours picking one thing up and then getting up thinking they had picked up the mess. Like they picked up one plate, and there's 10-foot area. That's a disaster. They picked one thing up, kind of like, okay, I got it. Right.
Yeah, you definitely should have recorded all this.
How long will you be reminding your mother-in-law of the stories that she doesn't remember?
When the show is over every day, I walk over to her bedroom and I knock on the door, and she's usually up, and she, says, come in. And I open the door and go, hi. And she asks me how'd the show go. And then I, we talk for 3 to 5 minutes. So today at around 10:04 a.m., we're going to, have our routine. And I am going to say, hey, what do you remember about last night? And I'm going to find out what she remembers about last night. And then I am going to fill in many of the blanks.
Here's what's going to be interesting to me, because I'm asked that same question. My wife, how was the show today? If my mother-in-law is in town, I get home because I work at the show. I go, first thing, how was the show today? Right. And my answer is always the same to them. Good. Will you remember more about your mother-in-law's episode last night than you will about the 4-hour show that you just did?
Oh, totally. I remember more about the 2 hours last night sitting in the room opposite my mother-in-law's room than I remember this show so far. Yeah, absolutely. It was tremendous. You're right. I should have videotaped it because I tell a decent story, but I don't know if I'm doing this justice. And just remember, it's your mother-in-law. Just, if it's your mom or your mother-in-law, what do you do?
21,000. Would you videotape your mother-in-law high?
High, by the way, on 3 different drugs. High. Hooked on phonics, baby. High. Yes. And happy.
Well, that's a good thing.
Happy.
And eating chocolates. Sounds like she had a hell of a night.
I feel fine. I feel really good. And her voice does get that high, by the way. That's actually an accurate impression.
Now, if you're your mother-in-law and say you were recorded, are you even mad? I mean,
she doesn't like to be embarrassed. She would want me to show it to her today and then give the okay as to what it is she's okay me releasing.
And I would tell her, by the way, since your wife kind of put the kibosh on any social media posts yesterday, I'd say just give her the phone and say, let loose. Time to post today. Time to be active on social media.
no.
Well, to be accurate, once again, it's my wife's mother. I mean, she didn't feel like she has the hammer to take the phone away. And that's what I said. I said, just take the phone away. She goes, I can't do that. I go, well, you're going to run in every 12 minutes and delete what you just posted. Take the damn phone away. She's high. She won't know she'll forget about the phone. Okay, take it away. No, I can't do that. It's my mother. Now, I have to admit, I could take the phone away from my mother. Of course, my mother would then whip out the iPad. But, I could do it. So she didn't put the kibosh on the social media. She just kept editing it afterwards. Mom, we got to delete this. Why? It's funny. No, it's not, Mom.
Should have just had someone call a fair catch.
Right. Yep. Instead, what are we going to have to do? We're going to have to get rid of the kickoff entirely.
That's where we're at.
Yep. So I'm just kind of curious. What do you do with your mother / mother-in-law when they're high as a kite?
Well, in my house, I usually offer my mother a drink to go along with it. But things were a little different in our house, David,
I have to admit, the 3 things she was on, I don't think I could have given her a drink. I'm pretty sure. It either wouldn't have mixed with all the chocolate or the drugs. One or the other. I'm not sure which.
I feel like that's when conversations could be at their best, though. I mean, depending on how talkative she was.
That, by the way, is what's going to happen after the show. Because she's got a snack stash drawer. And she thinks like we don't know that she has it. Okay? I mean, it's pretty easy to tell. There are crumbs all around it. Okay? And because she's 82, she can't see them. Okay? So I have to wait till she leaves the room and sweep them up all the time. So I'm going to open that drawer for her this morning. And I'm going to go, hi. Notice it's all gone.
Need me to run to the store for you today? What would you like on the list the next time you have the munchies?
Oh, wow. I didn't realize I ate that much.
Problem is you can't back up the truck to drop off the munchies anymore because the truck's gone.
I only have $6.17 with which to grocery shop. By the way, what's those very small cars? Are they called like minis or whatever?
Smart
Mini
cars?
Cooper?
Smart cars?
So apparently that's for the next few weeks. I think that's what I'll be backing up. Mark, you can still back up the truck. I'll be backing up the mini. What kind of a bet is this, Moulton? I'm backing up the Cooper.
It's all we've got left. Don't even have enough money to put in the back of that either.
Right. Of course, I'm watching the Heat get dismantled in the second half, and I'm thinking, I want some of the drugs my mother-in-law are on.
At that point, you could have just taken him and said, let's both get in the same frame of reference for the rest of the night.
Got any Oreos left, Janet? No? Damn.
I've destroyed my daughter's Oreos before. It's a soft spot. I'm surprised you didn't go after some of your. This has been really easy for your mom not to get the munchies. You could have just taken the Oreos from her last night.
She wouldn't have even
Basketball was going badly. Your bet was going badly. You might have needed something at that point.
Oreos are like potato chips. Once you have one, it's over.
It's true.
Miller and Moulton. The Great Eight coming up. Pat Kirwan is next. Seth Everett also in the 8 o'clock hour. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning.
Hey, Pat. Good morning.
How you doing, boys?
Good. I heard it was a fight-filled Monday night.
Yeah, the bloodbath was coming sooner or later. And I thought the bloodbath would be in the second game, but it turned out to be in the third game. I think they figured we got a couple days rest. We can all get beat up and recover in time. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Did you hear that both teams were on the same flight, Pat?
Yeah, I did. Well, but most of them all play junior hockey together anyway, as you guys have pointed out to me. here's the thing, David. Figure this out if you can. And that's pretty hard to. But if the Blades win this thing, they got to win 2 up there, and they are probably going to start on the road. I'm just trying to figure out if I have the right days to get back down there, and I'm hoping you're going to tell me like June 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Pat, unfortunately, when you get to the finals, it's all about arena availability. Like the first time Mark and the Blades went to the finals, they didn't have home ice advantage, yet they started the first 2 games at home because Boise's arena wasn't available. So wasn't it supposed to be like 2-4-1?
Something
if the series had gone that far and it only went 5, but so they're probably mapping it out now because they know what events they have booked. But I'll text Craig.
Yeah, not yet. Let's see if they can win first. But I'm just trying to figure it out because I got to be back down there on the 15th. For Mark, I won't be calling you. I took off from the radio, as shocking as that may sound. Remember last year when I had to call you to pick up Brady for me?
Yeah.
I said, Brady, I'm going to take off from the radio on Monday and Tuesday. But I have to go down on the 15th. He's got
if you need anything, just to holler.
Yep, I will. But right now I'm trying to clear my calendar, which I never do, but I am going to do it this time and just be with the kid. I felt bad having to ask you to do that. I go, Jesus. And then one day Vesey took him home. So we can't have this. I can't be doing this to adults.
Why? It's what I do. Although it's funny, last night this soccer team that my daughter played on has morphed into almost a travel team. But we had practice last night. One of the moms drops her 2 twin daughters off and leaves, and we become pretty good friends with her. And the one guy and I are sitting there, and he goes, "Watch this." He texts her. She leaves. He texts her. He goes, "Hey, lightning here. I left. Everybody's gone. Your daughters are sitting here." Got her to race back.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah.
We're sitting there just waiting for her.
Yes. Now, you made me think of my father, Mark, when you described that whole scene. Because my dad was one of those, he'd correct me on, and my brothers as well, on everything. Like when you said the 2 twins, he'd go, "Now, have you ever heard of 3 twins?"
That's a great point.
I was like, "Well, okay, Dad."
Yeah.
And I used to try to wiggle out, well, it was inferring both were there. No, you just say twins. The twins were there. He was like, he's a stickler for everything in the English language.
10 seconds.
Oh.
All right, let's do this.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We're halfway home in the 239. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan joins us Wednesdays at 8 o'clock during the off season. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. How are you?
I'm doing fine. And we've turned to another dimension of the league here. It's called the protest season. So I'm sure we'll cover the guys. And, my favorite funny expression is withholding services. You're not withholding services. We don't pay you this time of year. You're missing meaningless practices and shorts, mostly for rookies. So I laugh at all the guys that are not coming in. Big deal. But of course, yesterday I was consumed, and I had Brad Seeley on with me, who coached special teams for 30 years in the NFL, a couple of Super Bowl wins too, just to discuss the new fair catch rule. Hate the politics of it. Hate that every coach voted against it. And smart coaches like Belichick and Harbaugh, who were special teams coaches, said, "No, you're making a mistake." And they did it anyway, which just tells you that coaches have no clout at all. And it's scary. And Seals and I talked about a lot of things that's going to be created by this. And everyone thinks it's a squib kick. He said that's not going to happen because the average squib kick is returned to the 35-yard line. and they're not going to give up another 10 yards to squib kick. He said what they will do, though, is they will pop kick to the second row guys, the ones in front of the returners, and try to force them to have to step over the 25-yard line where they can't fair catch.
All right. Pat, this is just the beginning of eliminating the kickoff, right? I mean,
Yeah.
taking it at a wide angle lens, this is just the beginning of eliminating the kickoff.
Correct. So there's one more phase before they finally give in, and that'll be a kickoff to start the game and a kickoff to start the second half. And then the step after that will be no more kickoffs, put the ball on the 25. They're going to train people to see the ball placed on the 25 all the time except the opening kickoff and the second half. And then we'll get used to that, and then they'll get rid of the other two. So I got a couple of questions for you guys. When the ball was put on the 20 after a touchback, they didn't get enough touchbacks, so they incentivized it by putting it at the 25. But now if you can fair catch, why are we going to the 25? Why don't we go back to the 15 or the 20? Why are we giving them free 25 yards if I catch the ball on the 1 yard line? So, of course, the league hasn't thought that part through, but it's a mess. But here's the biggest question to you guys. And Celia and I talked about it for a while. So they claim the data, I love that expression, led them to this. All right, well, they're collecting data on everything. So what's next? I know what's next, third and fourth. And that's where the game's going. After they get done dissolving the kickoff, they'll ruin the punt game. Then they're going to quickly ruin the three-point stance. They may do that first, as a matter of fact. The left neurosurgeons in Pittsburgh have already told me that the three-point stance is the second most dangerous thing in football. And then after that, they're going to get to the blitz. So are you ready for all these changes to the point where you may not recognize the game?
Okay, I'm going to ask a really ignorant question.
What was your grandmother on last night, or your mother-in-law?
No, I know the drugs she was on last night, and trust me, we'd all get in line for them. Why do they have to make these changes? And because, no, let's be brutally honest, they don't give a rat's about player safety. They don't. Why do they even have to pretend? They have an 11-year collective bargaining agreement. They're not facing overwhelming lawsuits. I mean, think about 5 years ago, the whole concussion thing, and it was going to bring down the league. I mean, Pat, that's over with. Nobody's suing the league for anything. Okay? I don't understand why they feel the need to do anything to the game right now.
Because there are people on the competition committee that are driven by data, and they think they have to do their job. They have to create these problems, and then without the approval of the coaching staffs, the guys who run these things, they get to change them. They feel important. They think they're giving the impression of making a very dangerous game safe, and it's not safe, and it's never going to be safe until they wear flags and play flag football.
When did the competition committee get so much power, Pat? And I know it's a bone of contention with you, but when did their power become to the point that it was greater than people who actually played the game?
I think it has, and I can't really make the connection, but you're asking me a historical question. The CBA, collective bargaining agreement, when we put a bigger microscope on everything, when we knew, think back, fellas, there was a time when we didn't know everybody's salaries. There was a time when we didn't understand because there was no salary cap. Now you've got these mega players, mega salary quarterbacks, and there's a desire by ownership to protect them so they stay on the field. When you're paying a quarterback now $40 million a year, soon to be 50 for a couple guys, they decided, well, we got to keep that guy in the field. We can't have that guy go down in a salary cap era. So here comes safety for what? To keep the highest priced guys on the field. This is not basketball and baseball. Guys get hurt. And with the limited roster size, all these things. But I think, Mark, that's the closest I can get to my opinion of when this happened.
If you were to sit the owners down and say, okay, we're going to discuss a football matter, and you have a choice, you can listen to Andy Reid or Rich McKay. Why in the world would they listen to Rich McKay?
He scares them with data. And so the Thursday night thing is my favorite example of this. I like Roger a lot, but Roger said yesterday, we have data that says there's less injuries on Thursday night.
I know. They also have data that says that there's no difference between grass and turf. I mean, come on, Pat, we all know the line. You stare at statistics long enough until they tell you what it is you want to see.
I want to know the data entry. I want to know who put it in and what they put in. Example on Thursdays. Do you think, Mark, they put into their data that the guys who didn't play on Thursday because they couldn't recover in time are in the data? No. Those guys didn't even get on the damn plane. They're not available, but they're not part of the injury report. The only guys on the injury report are the guys who get hurt on Thursday night. So unless you put in the guys who couldn't play because they couldn't recover in time, you don't have a true statistic.
All right. Anything that you like that they did? I mean, they added the third quarterback, the emergency quarterback back. Anything else that happened that you're actually in favor of, Pat?
Well, I love the third quarterback, and they always have to try to screw that up, but they didn't this time. You have to be part of the 53-man roster. So let me ask you a question. If on the Friday practice before a game, one of your quarterbacks goes down with a bizarre injury and can't play in 2 days, am I allowed to bring up my practice squad quarterback to be the third quarterback? Because they said no practice squad quarterbacks, but they never clarified to us what that meant.
I thought they were trying to say you've got to be on the 53. So if you bring the practice squad guy up, he's on the 53, right?
Yeah. What if you have to bring him up on Sunday morning? Because a lot of times they travel the practice squad now, especially in November and December. You got a lot of guys that aren't 100%. We all hear about the pre-game workout. Got it?
Well, listen, being a part of Monday Night Football, there are a lot of guys who get added from the practice squad to the roster between 2 and 4 o'clock on Monday.
Right. Is that guy eligible to be the third quarterback? I just want to know, is he on the 53 in time? But when they say the practice squad guy can't be it, well, the practice squad guy can never be it when he's on the practice squad. He has to be activated. So what were they telling us? No one I know has given me an answer.
And Mark, where you and I are both going with this. We would have said, hey, guys, that's great. So you're allowing one of the 7 guys who's inactive to play. Why are you not letting the other 6?
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
It makes zero sense. It is of all the things since I've been doing this that I've no answer for is that why you have a 53-man roster and can't play 53 guys. It's mind-boggling to me, Pat.
I'll give you I asked the question of someone you already referenced, and I asked why? Why are we doing this? I said, I know owners personally have told me they don't want that. They want them all active for the reason that's obvious. They're being paid. He said, these coaches, Pat. They're just going to have more packages, more schemes, more subtle changes. I go, so what? Why does that bother you?
Who cares? You're only allowed 11 on the field.
I know.
Who cares?
So I'm just repeating what I was told when I asked that direct question.
I just don't know why they listen to people. If we gave those answers, they would fire us. So what? You get an office and you give those same answers and they listen to you? It makes no sense.
No,
I can't believe these are the only people these billionaires pay to not work in their life. In their everyday business, everybody has to work to get paid. And then they own an NFL team and they pay, 7 out of 53 is what? Like 13%. They 13% of their roster they pay to not play. Seriously?
No, I'll only correct you on one thing, David, because you're always passionate and you are right, except you said everyone in this country has to work to get paid. Now we know that's not true.
Well, I said that the guys that own
teams, they're employees.
The guys that own teams.
I know. I just want you to remember America's falling apart.
Don't go down that road on this show. Come on now.
I just did. Hey, if you went down the road of your mother-in-law, I can do whatever the hell I want.
She was high, Pat. High.
All right, Pat, just
Doesn't make her a bad person.
It
Not
does
at
not
all.
at all. No, we're all very envious, actually.
yes or no, Pat? Washington sale going to get done?
Yes. It's look, I don't think the owners should bend the rules, because that's a can of worms for other ownership groups down the road. They'll figure it out.
I know any Commanders fans out there are just hoping desperately that this gets taken care of. He is Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio Moving the Chain, CBS NFL Today, and he joins us, well, in the offseason, once a week, during the season, twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers, with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers, where you cannot fake fresh. More with Pat coming up on the other side. Thanks so much for listening right here to Miller and Moulton with Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett in 25 minutes on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What's new, David?
Not much. Killing time.
Yeah, it's a nice quiet time. It's getting quiet for me, which is great. And
We've got a week of rain up here. It's like living in Seattle right now. It's raining all the time.
yeah, a couple of the guys I play golf with, I told them to come down last week, and they said they couldn't, so they came down this week, and they're going, "Oh, you left at the right time." Yeah.
In our Twitch chat room, there was a question: did Pat coach at Hofstra? Yes.
Yes. Who's that from? Probably someone I coached.
No, actually, from a lawyer in Fort Myers who just asked the question. By the way, there's a sound on your end. It almost sounds like you're playing with your ice in a drink. It's interesting.
I'm in a car
Yeah.
in the parking lot of the PGA Superstore,
Gotcha.
right off the Garden State Parkway,
Oh,
up where 17 meets them.
I
No,
know it well.
Yeah, and I'm just driving, and I always like to get a chunk of the driving done before the morning traffic when I'm coming down from the lake, and then I'll just jump on the Garden State after this and get back to the house. Tomorrow I'm heading to Nashville for 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Hockey?
Yep, This is a big tournament. They're from all over the world. Their opening game, Mark, is Slovakia.
Is this who's he play? Is this with his team in Jersey or is this with
No,
Brindley's
he's playing
team?
for Brindley's team. Ryan Brindley's team. So be interesting. They're now that I've come to see how this works and who's who. There's Toronto All-Stars, Quebec All-Stars, all this nonsense, but there's a lot of good teams and a lot of kids. So because it's Memorial Day weekend, the finals are on Monday. This shit's not going to end. I think they can land up playing to win the whole thing. You can play 8 games. It's way too much hockey. But I like it. I can do my radio show down there between games. It worked out perfect for Thursday and Friday.
Well, they should be able to set you up also in that arena because there's a guy on the college channel, Pat, who does the midday show with Neuheisel. He lives in Nashville, and I know he does his show either in the arena or at a place right nearby.
They do. I was down there for the Super Bowl, and we went there to do it.
Okay.
So yeah, the resources are in place, but I'm telling you, the Zoom stuff from the hotel rooms has been 100% great. I hate to jinx myself, but it's been great. I've been doing it at all these tournaments. I've been just in the room doing them. I got a new 4G card from, actually, I think it's 5G, from Verizon, and that thing is fantastic. So
awesome.
I'm on it right now, sitting in the car doing it. So it's fine.
I'm going to ask you an attendance question about Thursday Night Football and flexing games.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions here.
Great. You know, don't ask me where my wallet is or, you know, what my social security number is, but you can ask me about the football stuff. Fire away.
Exactly. No, I figured this, Jim Brown, you know,
Jim.
Where your wallet and your money is, no.
But Jim Brown now, I had some interesting stuff. My wife taught in Manhasset for 30 years. That's where Jim went to high school. And Jim has been back before he passed away a number of times. And Janet went right up to him the first time. I had just interviewed him that summer, and he was coming in September to give some award out or receive an award. And I said, he might remember us. He'll remember being on the radio and some of the funny things he said. So she went up to him and talked to him, and then he had come back, and he kind of acted like he remembered her. So it was a big deal in Manhasset to have Jim back. He did throw a lady off a balcony, though.
Well, allegedly.
Yeah, let her fly. Good guy. Hey, you know who looks great is Becton. I told you about what Phil Simms said to me.
All right, we're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, he of NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. All right, a couple other matters that we definitely want to get to, Pat.
Yep.
So they're going to flex up to 2 late season Thursday night games. I'm assuming fans called into your show and they hate it now between Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, that season ticket holders, are angry. Can I just ask you a basic question? Does the NFL play funny with their attendance numbers, or are their attendance numbers legit?
I don't know if it's. I wouldn't believe that it's totally accurate. Number one.
Okay,
and you missed one dimension. 5 games in Europe. That doesn't make them happy either.
Right. The reason I asked that question, it's twofold, is there's only one team last year that played before less than 92% capacity, according to the NFL. That's the Commanders. They played only before about 86% capacity. At 13 of the 32 teams played at 100% or above capacity. By the way, Bucks second, Dolphins third in terms of playing to capacity last year in the NFL. So what I'm wondering, Pat, is will the NFL, you think, ever see their disregard for the fans hurt them at the box office? Because this is something that would get me to stop buying season tickets if you keep taking my 1:00 Sunday game and moving it all over the place.
I think that will happen. And I get the sense from the listeners now that their anger is leading them to those kind of conclusions. I'll give you an example, much to my surprise. Jet fans, even though they got Rodgers, and I went over this 2 weeks ago on the show, the Jet front office is trying to force people to buy 2 years worth of tickets. You can't have 1 year. You got to buy the next 2 years. And guys are backing off that, and they're not doing it. And the Jets will tell us that they're doing fine. Back to your percentage and all that stuff. Are they counting the empty seat that's paid for?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Always.
Yeah, always.
Always is the answer to that question.
That's right. And they know from the parking lot how many less cars are there, and they can surmise how many people. But we knew, look at the Jets, we knew the no-show numbers. And we fired at least one head coach on those no-show, fully paid-for seats because the bean counters came in and said, well, no one paid for parking, no one bought a hot dog or a beer, no one bought a program, we're losing money. And we had 25,000 no-shows for the last 3 home games 1 year, and that head coach was gone.
Okay, but that was a different time before the TV contracts were what they are now. Pat, how much does the NFL actually care about the attendance inside the stadiums? I mean, they're gonna tell you they care, but how much do they actually care with the TV contracts as big as they are, taking the $110 million for streaming, playing the 5 games in Europe for a paycheck? Do they really care about the attendance?
They do care because it's a bad look at the game. There's no energy coming into the TV screen from the stadium, number one. And anytime there's empty seats, people are wondering just what you asked. But I would say this about the money. Everything's relative. The stadium seating and all the stuff that goes on with parking, it's still 30 to 35% of the revenue. And there's the problem. The TV money, well, what happened with the TV money? The cap went up. The salaries went up. So relatively speaking, they still need those luxury boxes. You want to get rid of a head coach? I said this before on this show. Have 15 of the luxury box guys go call the owner and say, we're not renewing. Out goes the coach.
Since the last time we talked, Jim Brown passed away.
Yeah.
And I know that you have spoken to Jim over the years, hosting your show and being at training camps. And I'm guessing 1 year you were probably at Browns camp and he was there. And you talked to Belichick on a semi-regular basis. And even we documented his affection for Jim Brown and his respect and all that. So just your thoughts and maybe a story that you heard in the last week about Jim Brown that either you haven't told us before or that you hadn't heard before.
Well, we all know that he was the greatest lacrosse player that ever played, and they had to change the rules in lacrosse because he cut off the stick and taped the webbing to his arm. And then you could check his arm and he could care less. You're hitting his arm with a hickory stick and it didn't bother him. And when he got close to the goal, he brought the webbing to his chest and ran through everybody just like football and threw it in for a goal. So greatest lacrosse player that ever lived. And they had to change the rules. He threw 2 no-hitters in high school baseball. He was a phenomenal basketball player. I'll tell you 2 stories, though, because the guy I coached with at Hofstra, Bill Brown, was the other captain at Syracuse, and he used to call himself the other Brown. I was the other Brown. But Bill Brown was an entrepreneur, and he would schedule basketball games for money out in the boondocks, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Jim Brown, and Jim was the calling card. And he'd get 4 or 5 guys from Syracuse, and they'd get in a car on a Friday night and go play for cash. And they'd be on their way home counting their $50 each, thinking they were rich. And it was all about Jim Duncan. So that's but my favorite story about Jim, and I might have told it on the air, but you asked for it. I'm sitting with Jim face to face in Cleveland. He's got a cane. He's hobbling over. he sits down. We're talking, and at the end of it, I said, in all fairness to you listeners, since you can't see Jim, I'm just telling you, Jim Brown can still score from the 1 yard line. And he leaned over to his mic and said, Pat, from the 3. that was a defining moment. The man with the cane was pretty sure he was good from the 3 yard line.
I believe he passed away on the same day of the year as Ernie Davis did also. Going back to that Syracuse connection and Ernie, and then Ernie was supposed to join him in the backfield and got sick and all that.
Yep.
So it's funny how stuff like that works sometimes.
Well, if you consider the era, and I was talking to Paul Warfield about this. Paul said they played 9 in the box against us. And now the young fan who never heard of him, we had to, we went over. He said 9 in the box every down. He always had at least 1, but usually 2 unblocked players that he had to run over or straight arm. And Jim talked about, he never liked to practice. He kept telling the coaches, and they finally agreed, just be ready on Sunday. And Paul said he rarely did anything during the week. He said on Friday he'd tune it up a little bit, but that would be it. And then he'd go on Sunday. At 1 o'clock, by the way, David.
He would have loved flex scheduling. He would have loved it.
That would have screwed up his I don't work out routine. Now I can't work out for 10 days.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio Move the Chains weekday afternoon, CBS's NFL Today show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat, safe travels. Have a great holiday weekend with your family, and we'll do this again next week.
Talk to you next week, fellas. Enjoy your weekend yourselves. Thank you.
Pat Kirwan, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
From the 3.
From the 3.
That's awesome.
Averaged over 5 yards a carry for his 9-year career. As Pat said, facing 9 in the box, in which they had more tacklers than Cleveland had blockers. Yep.
He was bigger than all of them, too.
I
mean, that's the other part. Guys were all of similar size in the league at that time, and Jim Brown was seemingly bigger than all of them.
It is funny to see the old highlights and to see big Sam Huff coming in to tackle him. And you're like, yeah, Sam's not much bigger than Jim. No. Andy Robustelli on the other side as a D lineman going, it kind of looks like Jim. Yeah.
In fact, I don't think there was a position on the field that Jim Brown couldn't have played.
No, they talked about, could you imagine Jim Brown today? They'd probably want to make him a tight end.
Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett, never been accused of being a tight end. He's next on Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't
Trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill.
The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hi, Seth.
Hi there.
How are you?
Good. I hear a little echo, but now I think it's gone, so I think we're good.
Yeah, I don't know what Pat had something going on. I don't know if he was banging something.
I heard
horrible.
it. Yeah, I heard it. I was I had to update a commercial early this morning, so I was listening to your show a little bit.
I have to laugh. I've been trying to walk after the show every day, go for good long hour walk, and so I put Dan Patrick on, and I've been putting it on one of our affiliates that's in Port Charlotte. So it's a Clear channel, or it's an iHeart station. So I hear the woman, whoever does the Florida sports updates, and I'm thinking of you every time I hear one of the.
Yeah, I've done them. I've done them.
By the way, Hops, I think it was Kotite. They also were off on the field, but
Rich Kotite.
It wouldn't surprise me because Kotite did, after leaving the Eagles, have his 2 years with the Jets.
Yes, he did.
Which is what led to Parcells.
Boomer Esiason.
No, Boomer was right before that too.
Right,
Boomer
but Boomer played for Kotite.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember I was always impressed that an athlete ripped his coach publicly.
Yeah, he played for the
other
Mark, the guy we play poker with, Bruce.
Coslet,
and then the 1 year with Pete Carroll.
Yep.
And then Kotite.
Pete Carroll spoke to a bunch of Syracuse kids. Jim Brown. Did you guys see what I tweeted about Jim Brown?
I did not.
When I was like 9 or 10, I didn't know who Jim Brown was. And he was in Knight Rider. And he was like a bad guy. And so I always knew Jim Brown as the villain from Knight Rider. And as I started learning about sports and I would learn about the greats, and you heard about Jim Brown, I was like, the guy from Knight Rider?
Yeah. Yep.
And,
The guy from Knight Rider.
Yeah. So then I went to Syracuse, and obviously, I mean, the place is a freaking shrine to him. And, you go in and everything, and I'm like, where's Hasselhoff?
Where's Hasselhoff? In Germany.
I never got into that show. It just seemed way too stupid.
It's my favorite. My favorite.
Your favorite? You loved it that much?
That much. Favorite television show growing
Yeah,
up.
you got to. That's where the slight age difference makes a big difference.
Totally.
I mean that's
Knight Rider.
That's,
I'm 80s.
That's where our age differences are just enough that Seth was just a little bit younger. How old are you, Seth?
49.
Yeah.
Totally.
It was a little hokey for us.
What were you, like 10?
Knight Rider? Yeah, I was probably 10, 11.
9, 10. Yeah. I can see that being. Yeah.
That show. I mean, if I go down a rabbit hole, if somebody sends me a YouTube link, I'll go down a rabbit hole and I'll be done for an hour. I could watch that show all over again. Love it. Love it.
Did that transfer over to Baywatch then?
Nope.
Hassel in the Hoff?
I wasn't a Hasselhoff guy. I was a Kit guy, like the car. I wanted the car. In the worst way, I wanted the car. By the time I got my license, the car wasn't made.
Right.
Oh, I talked to a guy in Fort Myers, Pete something. What's his name? Hold on. He knew you guys, and he'd heard our segments. Pete Shepard?
Yeah, he does the afternoon show on this station.
On that same station?
Yes.
Yeah. They hate us. They
hate
MF
you?
us. They MF us behind the scenes all the time.
Oh, really?
Have for years.
Oh,
Yep.
he seemed very nice. And when I saw Fort Myers, I go, oh, Fort Myers. I go on Miller and Moulton every week. I have for decades now. And he literally was like, oh, those guys are awesome. I know you from that. Yeah. I've heard your segment.
Coming back.
I was like, right on.
Awesome, huh?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes left in this hour. Final hour of the show in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The bonus hour begins at the top of the hour in Southwest Florida, here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We were just reminiscing a bit during the break with Seth Everett. It's another reason to take us in on Twitch. You get our dialogue during the commercial breaks.
9 times out of 10, better than the segment.
Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. He's down to only 2 worthwhile podcasts, even though he does about 7.
Nope. Started a third.
No, but it's not worthwhile yet. We have no idea if anyone's listening, if it has sponsors. We don't care.
No,
Sports with Friends,
been
Hall of
very well
Justice.
received.
That's it.
I like it. I'm proud of it. I'm happy about it. All right.
So what are you doing now? Go ahead. I mean, you're going to talk about whatever it is you want to talk
I
about.
started an anti-Semitism podcast.
Really?
I really did. Yeah. This friend of mine who's a rabbi, we started talking, and when the Kyrie Irving shenanigans happened over the winter, I put him on Sports with Friends, and he was great. And he came up to me and he said, I think there's a space where we need to talk about these things. Would you help me with it? And I said, okay. And it's not going to be weekly. It's going to be bi-weekly. So it's every other. We did an episode. It's not very labor intensive, but it's about 30 minutes long. It's pretty good.
Okay. I'm going to try to bring a little levity to obviously a very serious and worthwhile subject. What is the one show that you do every year, Sports with Friends, around the holidays? Isn't it called like
Two Jews hanging out on Christmas?
Right. 2 Jews hanging out on Christmas.
He's not going to be the guy. Yeah, he's not going to be the guy.
No. But what I'm just wondering is, okay, whether or not this podcast is then going to be called, 2 Jews talking about the blank.
Yeah, no.
No?
No.
No?
2 Jews walk into a bar. No.
I just didn't know, because you do an annual Sports with Friends podcast called 2 Jews Talking About Christmas.
Slick artwork. It's called Being Jew-ish, with a dash in between Jew and ish. And, if you guys know me at all, I am the least religious person in the history of Earth. But all this hatred and all this bias stuff drives me bananas. So I wanted to start it. I want to see. To me, this is one of those. I'm not going to look at the numbers. I'm not interested in how many are listening. I want to know who's listening. And I want to know if people are touched by it. And so far, I've had people, both Jewish and non-Jewish people, reach out to me and say they shared it with their group of friends. And I think that's really neat.
Okay. Huh.
Boy, that's a showstopper.
That's
well, it is. I mean, I have to admit, of all the subject matter, I mean, you do this for a living. Yeah. You communicate for a living. You try to attract a mass audience.
Yeah, not with this.
Hold on. We introduce you, and Mark says, okay, lay it on us. And you basically say, well, my lead is anti-Semitism. Oh, okay. Great. Great.
How about that Celtics game last night?
Let's talk about ESPN and going direct to consumer now.
That Jack Hughes is a Jew.
What'd you talk about with Seth today? Well, we started with anti-Semitism and eventually got to the salary cap. I mean, my goodness.
We got to the salary cap.
What do you want to transition to? Peace in the Middle East?
This is a requirement of a professional segwayer.
Night.
Yeah.
Where do we? Ukraine? Where do you want to go?
How? Okay, I'm sure you guys talked about this. How in the world is Brooks Koepka allowed to be in the PGA Championship?
Why?
He qualified.
He's a two-time. Hold on.
PGA.
Well, no, it's not the PGA Tour.
The PGA Tour and PGA of America are separate entities, Seth.
Oh my goodness. Get it. Can one of them get a different name? It's very confusing.
Okay, I'll grant you that. If you don't follow it closely, I can see where that would hit you. But yes, here's the funny thing, Seth. The PGA Tour has nothing to do with any of the four majors in their sport.
No, I'd heard that.
Right.
A lot of people explained it to me, but no one explained it well. And my favorite thing when Koepka is winning it, Jay Feely, one of my favorite people on earth, tweeted, he was going to, in essence, pull a Pat Bolin and go, "This one's for Liv." That would have been awesome.
It would have been.
That would have been remarkable. And the CW would have cut it off before it was over.
Right. I wouldn't have even seen Hovland's double on 16. We would have thought, who knows, maybe Hovland's winning this thing. That's right.
And then he showed up at the Panthers game. I thought that was awesome.
Okay. Now, see, I thought you would become a huge Brooks Koepka fan because he apparently is like a huge Florida Panthers fan.
Yeah.
His wife takes videos of him in Panthers jerseys on planes and at home watching Panthers games. He's apparently that guy.
So by winning the PGA, he doesn't have to park at the Target and walk across that street to get to the arena.
He now gets to park at the Panera Bread, I believe. He gets to move up.
He moved up. He moved up.
Right. That's preferred parking there. Also, the record for longest time not blinking while clapping on camera was Brooks Koepka during that game. You see that video again. He was a little intense.
Imagine what he's like staring over a 12-footer for par on the back nine of a major. I mean, if he's that intense about a scoreless game 3, which is when
I was trying to find out this information, and it was funny because Andrew Catalan was making fun of me because he's walking his kid, playing outside, and I said, "How is Brooks Koepka allowed to do this?" And he's like, "Do you really want me to explain this whole thing to you?" I was like, "No, it's fine. I'll just go on Miller and Moulton on Wednesday."
Right. And after anti-Semitism, we'll get to Brooks Koepka.
Listen, I wasn't going back there. I was a drop in the bucket.
It's a little more than a drop. I got to be honest with you. In fact, it's kind of like 3 full buckets of water.
It's a project. I like it.
Good to know.
I like that it's finished. It's not something I have to do today.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice, and whatever the other one's named. Okay, it's a real toe tapper. It's twice a month. Okay, follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Everett with 2 T's.
All right,
TikTok.
Seth, we talked about it earlier this week, and David did kind of allude to it. ESPN direct to consumer. You've been working on these things a lot. Is this the demise of cable television? Like, you think cable's already dead? How much does this kill it?
Well, the study this year is that less than half of the United States households has cable now. So as of now, the pendulum has finally switched. Last year, it was around 50-50. This year, the pendulum has officially switched. It's a big move. I don't think it's going to happen exclusive just yet anytime soon. They're still, getting more money per cable subscriber than they would for a subscriber direct to consumer, unless they start raising their prices. And what everybody I've talked to about this is, if ESPN's going direct to consumer, it has to be affordable because you have to make it friendly. Right now, for example, the regional sports networks like Nesson and MSG this summer, they're charging like $30 a month to watch 2 teams. Your ESPN, you want to do at least a third of that. And if you're going to do that, you make more money per cable subscriber. So direct to consumer is going to be an option, but they're not going off of cable until cable truly is dead.
The numbers we heard in Andrew Marchant in his piece, he wrote that right now ESPN's in 74. Cable is in 74 million households, or ESPN is in 74 million households, and they probably don't go direct to consumer until that number is about 60 million.
Yeah, that's what I would guess. Yeah,
and right now they're losing 2 to 3 million a year subscribers. Like in the last year, cable lost 2 million people.
Right, but in the COVID year, it was like 10 million.
Right.
So it hit the gas. That's why everybody thought ESPN was going to move sooner. I still think I read that piece. And I've talked to Andrew before. I don't think it's going to happen that soon, and I don't think it's that urgent. I don't think ESPN is not the thing that's hard to get. What's hard to get is a Yankees game in New York and a Texas Rangers game in New York. You know what I mean? Like all those blackouts and all that stuff. That's what needs to go.
Mark,
ESPN,
I don't know,
ESPN is super accessible.
Mark and I have not talked about this on or off air. I'm concerned how much it's going to cost if you're a sports fan going forward. Like, believe it or not, this cable, for whatever problems you may have with cable and what have you, it was all one shop stopping, and it had, one stop shopping, and it had a price. Okay. This, if we're going to have to find everything separately, we're going to have to make hard choices. Is this worth $10 a month? Is this, you quoted ESPN needs to be a third. I saw that when ESPN goes direct to consumer, they're going to be $30 a month.
Oh, I'm not paying $30 a month for ESPN.
Well, I'm not either. Or do I only do it for certain months out of the year?
Well, but then, like I have it through Hulu, and I have the ESPN Plus bundle. I get everything ESPN has. Like, I just don't watch linear ESPN. Someone asked me if I had seen Stephen A. Smith, and I was like, who? So my point is the linear station, like the way my apps work is if a game is on, I can click the game. I don't know what channel it's on. I don't know when the game is on ABC or ESPN or ESPN2. I never know. When the Syracuse games are on, I don't know what network they're actually on. It's just a button I push. And that's what I think the user interface is going to be like.
But I think the point David's making is there are going to be hard decisions here, because when you start adding up your Netflix,
I cancel stuff,
and your direct and your Hulu bundle with ESPN and Disney, and you start looking at it, it's very quickly going to be the same, if not more, than what you're spending with your cable company.
It can be if you get everything. For example, this Saturday is the final game of the Premier League, right? The Premier League doesn't start again until September. I'm canceling Peacock for 2 months. I'm saving $20. It's a click of a button. It takes 2 seconds. It's not like this big gesture that I'm doing, but I will cancel Peacock. And if any shows are coming out on Peacock, I'll watch them in September. You know what I'm saying? So and I don't have Showtime. That's not my thing. I don't have Showtime or Paramount Plus. That's my choice. And what I do is you select the networks or the apps that you want, and that's the choice. I hope ESPN's not $30. That's wrong to me.
No, that's what they're speculating now.
Yeah.
In 3 years, when they go direct to consumer, who knows what it'll be. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice.
Matt Laughlin, the radio play-by-play announcer, speaking of apps, of the New Jersey Devils, joined me. He's been with that team for 27 years. The first 10 on Fox Sports Net or Sports Channel, doing the intermissions, and then he became the radio announcer on WFAN. And for the last 6 years, they've been on an app. And to be perfectly honest with you, that's how I listen to them. You press the NHL app on CarPlay, and it's there.
All right.
About that.
Does he have any data as to how many people
are listening? He does.
The last 5-6 years versus how many people when, if they were on, say, FAN could get the Devils ratings and tell them you're getting 32,000 people listening to these.
Yes. What we talked about was the Devils were one of the first teams to do it. Now it's, dozens of teams have internet-only access. The thing that the Devils did was they did it too early, and they didn't make it very easy to find. And so they had a huge drop-off. Plus, those were some of the leanest years for
That's true.
So the data is a little skewed, but, we didn't get into the numbers of it. We did talk about it, but there has been a resurgence with the advent of Apple CarPlay and Android, whatever
and the team got really good, so that helps too. Right. All right, Hall of Justice.
Hall of Justice, the Flash series comes to an end tonight. I've seen the finale. We'll talk about it. Plus, I have talked to, over the years, 8 members of the cast and writing staff of The Flash, and we're going to put together a little a conglomeration of conversations that I've had over the years on The Flash. We're going to say goodbye to the Flash TV show and get ready for the Flash movie.
By the way, Flash TV show, we're less than a minute. Is this a thumbs up for you? A thumb sideways? Is this an all
sideways? Yeah,
sideways.
First 3 seasons were brilliant. It should have ended then.
Seth Everett. Many of you feel the same way about our segments with him. You know, it starts well, should have ended, about 7 minutes ago.
I don't know. The first 3 minutes were a little rough today.
That's true. Okay. Then there those of you going, you know what? The writing in the first 3 minutes, 3 years, really rough.
Yeah. Well, there's a writer's strike, so we had to ad lib a bunch.
Exactly. Yes. Boy, can't wait till they get back. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. All the best. Be good. Start any new anti-Semitic projects, keep them to yourself, okay?
Go Panthers.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks, Seth. Have a great rest of your day. For all of you, have a great rest of your day. The bonus hour in the 239 is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I felt so bad because yesterday was the buy one entree, get another entree at Chipotle free.
Right.
You wore a hockey jersey day. Of course, I did that. And I go, how many hockey jerseys have you had so far? Guy just takes a big huff and goes, too many. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. And they were understaffed. They had like 3 people. Not the day you want to be overstaffed or
Well,
understaffed.
first off,
That's
is
on
there-
them.
That's on them, yeah.
But is there a restaurant of any kind, a fast food place, or have you seen a restaurant lately that's properly staffed?
No,
I haven't.
No,
I haven't.
No.
It's a real problem.
Pretty soon they'll be adding more to the staff because I'll be looking for a waiting table shop.
Okay.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour on this hump day. Hope your week is going well. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Heat got whacked in the second half. What the wide world of sports is going on there? Can the Panthers avoid what happened to the Heat last night? Can they get the job done? Can they advance to the Stanley Cup Finals? I mean, you might get a week and a half off, but I mean, they're talking about June 3rd, starting the Stanley Cup Finals. June 3rd. What the heck? This thing might be over in like 30 hours. But got a game 5, Heat Celtics tomorrow night. Boston can win just one home game. We'd have a very interesting Saturday night game, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we?
I mean, I want the Heat to win. The Heat are going to win, but I wouldn't mind seeing one more game. Wouldn't mind seeing a little pressure.
Yeah.
Because the Heat have not faced really any pressure in the postseason.
No.
I mean, that's not true. They face pressure in the play-in games.
Yeah, that's true.
I was wrong. Before you start correcting me on the text line, and that's 21,000, by the way, text as much as you'd like. But no, I'm sorry. They were in a lot of trouble for the play-in games. They faced pressure then. Since then, they've not really faced much.
Although, Mark, technically, you're right. Somebody gives you a hard time because they don't count the play-in games as the playoffs. So technically, it's like an extension of the regular season. Remember in baseball, the Monday play-in 163rd game, those were regular season stats. Apparently, that's what the play-in is also. That's not the playoffs. So you were technically correct.
Celtics shoot the eyes out of the basket, particularly in the second half. 57% from the floor in the second half. 45% from beyond the arc in the second half. 2 big runs, a 16-0 run, a 12-0 run, and they handle the Heat. The Heat made a couple of efforts to get back in the game, but too many turnovers for the Heat last night.
Panthers, and I'm going to get a little nitty-gritty here. So, Mark, you pointed out something before this series, and I went, really? And you said, oh, yeah. And I think you've proven to be correct. We were breaking down the Canes and the Panthers, and you said, oh, Florida's got a big coaching edge. And I go, really? Big coaching edge? And you went, oh, yeah. Well, Eddie Olczyk was talking about it without saying it during game 3. Barkov gets hurt for Florida. First period. He's played 3 minutes. We have 7 minutes to go in the first period. Barkov doesn't come back. That's a guy who logs close to 20 minutes of ice time. He's their best face-off guy. He's an important guy on the team. And what does Paul Maurice do? He rides his horses. Rides them. Kachuk played over 24 minutes. 24 minutes for a forward. Okay. Bennett played over 23. I mean, take a look at the minutes his top forwards played. And they played half the game with the lead. because they scored on a power play mid-second period. Meanwhile, Carolina, who can't get a goal, and you're feeling as if their season's on the line, and they just kept rolling their lines. And Old Chuck, the second half of the game, Mark, is saying, man, if I'm Brindamore here, I got to ride my horses. And he started going over the minutes that they'd played. He's like, look, this guy's played 8 minutes.
And well, obviously no one scored because they were shut out in the game. It was the best game Sebastian Aho had in the series, and it wasn't close. He had largely disappeared. He's one of their best offensive players. He had several chances, hit a bar, hit a goalie in the face mask. I mean, had a really good game, had quality grade A chances. I still don't think on the 2 plays across the net that he's got the oomph to go where he needs to go to score. It still looks good, but I still think he's a little afraid's the wrong word. He's a little tentative to go into the dirty areas to score goals. That's how I would describe Sebastian Aho for Carolina.
It's funny. I don't know if he's soft, but he certainly looks small, if you know what I mean. So
right.
that if he
I'm
tries to go there, right, he's
I'm
just
not overwhelmed. As far
overwhelmed.
as to say soft. I just don't know. Gretzky in the intermission talked about Glenn Anderson and his ability to go to the net before there were nets that popped off the moorings, when those nets used to stay on those posts, and how Glenn Anderson would go to the net with a reckless event. Glenn Anderson wasn't a big guy, but Glenn Anderson had a fearlessness about going to the net that I just don't know if Aho has that same tenacity to get to the net.
But the point that Olczyk was making was that Paul Maurice, leading in the series, leading in the game, was riding his horses hard, trying to get the horse into the barn in game 3. And that Olczyk didn't think Brindamore was riding his horses. Now, we can get into whether or not we actually think Carolina's got horses. But you mentioned their best horse. And Olczyk was basically saying, hey, it's the third period, you're down 1-0. I may have to start double shifting this guy or every other shift in this guy. I got to get him on the ice. He's terrific tonight. And what I am wondering, though, Mark, is with only 1 day off in between, will some of the Panthers have their legs tonight? If you think about it, they've played a lot of hockey in a short time. The first game was really 2.5 games. And then they came right back and played a game 2, which went to overtime. And then that's as hard as a regular 1-0, win in game 3. And he had to ride his horses, so to speak. I am curious about the Panthers and their legs tonight, up 3-0. Don't know if that makes sense or not.
I understand your point, but obviously both teams have played. I don't think the minutes are that disparaging in one team's favor or the other that it's going to be a huge difference in game 4.
So that's just what I'll be looking for. And, obviously, you remarked on the comments that Gretzky and Lundqvist had going back and forth just about when you get a hot goalie. Dave Poulin was on NHL radio yesterday, and he said, I've been on both sides. He goes, I've been on the team that had the goalie, and I've been on the team that was facing the goalie. He goes, and I can assure you, when you're on the team that has the goalie, you literally think, well, if we get one, boys, we're going to win. I mean, you don't think that guy's given up anything.
And I thought, Olczyk and Jones talked about it as well, about how well Bobrovsky's playing. And Olczyk said flat out, this is the guy that, Olczyk scored a bunch of goals, his former coach. He said, you got to start bumping him. He didn't say run him, but he did say, you got to get traffic in front of the net and you got to start making him uncomfortable.
Well, I would expect Carolina tonight. I don't know what roster adjustments they could make, but don't you have to put 1 or 2 different forwards in the lineup tonight? And Mark, like you said, they got to get more traffic in front of him. They just have to.
And I don't know, David, if they want to, if you know what I mean.
Well, I know exactly what you're saying, but don't you have to have 1 or 2 guys who haven't played in a month who'd be like, you give me a regular shift, I'll do whatever you want, coach. Montour can cross-check me in the back all game. Let's go.
The short answer to that is yes. I just don't know from a depth standpoint if Carolina had what they're putting out there, how much difference it would really make.
No, I know. They're not a big grinder team. They're a speed team. And, we talked about it. They're a regular season team. You know how, like in the NBA, there were certain teams who had good years this year, like Sacramento, and we said they're really fun. Okay, they can't go on a deep run. They're a regular season team. Okay, Carolina's built like a really good regular season team. They don't have great goaltending. They have good goaltending. Don't have great goaltending.
I got this text yesterday, David, and this is a fascinating case study. He says, I think a case could be made for the Tkachuk trade being the best NHL trade of our lifetime. Better yet, the kahunas on Zito to make that trade. Now, I don't know if it's the best trade of our lifetime, but one of the gutsiest trades you'll ever see. To take a President's Cup team and completely change the chemistry and makeup of it with a monster offseason trade.
They got a little lucky, though. It really is an NBA trade disguised as an NHL trade. Tkachuk was entering the final year of his contract and had told the folks in Calgary, I'm not re-signing. I mean, they put a big offer in front of him. He says, I'm out of here. Do whatever you got to do.
I still remember all the backlash that trade got.
Right. Well, because they traded, two outstanding players.
It was their best player.
And also, Wiegand, the defenseman, an offensive defenseman. They traded two really good players for him. But also Tkachuk, in a way, kind of was determining where it is he would go, because when GM started calling Calgary, going, well, we're interested in Tkachuk, the Calgary GM had to say, yeah, he's not going to sign long-term with you. Or Tkachuk's people, the Calgary GM gave those guys permission, and those GMs would be like, hey, and Tkachuk's people said, yeah, you want to rent me for a year, fine, but I ain't re-signing with you either. But when Florida called, Tkachuk went, oh, I'd do a long-term deal there.
And Zito had to sell this to ownership. But, David and I both read a great article in The Athletic talking about the Panthers and what's going on with their new owner, that this was not a stamp of approval trade. This was a what the hell are you doing trade that he had to sell ownership on before he could make, and sold them on it, sold them on the belief of what the team had to become, and it's worked. Because if it doesn't work, Zito's done as the GM of the Florida Panthers.
And think about it. They snuck into the playoffs. They were, 11 points back of the final playoff spot at the All-Star break. They went on a run, and then with like a week to go, they were in the playoffs, and then they lost a key game. And for a night, they were out. They did not control their fate for a night. And they got a key outcome elsewhere, and then they won enough to get in. And they're a one game away from taking down the three best teams in the Eastern Conference. Boom, boom, boom.
Really a remarkable season in its entirety. The way it started out, as badly as things were going, having to re-identify yourself as a hockey team during the season, and they pulled that off, and they stuck with what the systems that Paul Maurice were running, and in the second half, it started working. Miller and Moulton. We're still trying to figure out this whole working thing right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Do you see they're having a lot of fun with the fact that both Jeter and A-Rod were at the game last night?
Oh, really?
Not really who you want when you're up 3-0 in a series against a Boston team in the house.
Funny.
That's pretty good. I was laughing because I saw I didn't see Jeter. I wasn't paying any attention. I'm not looking in the crowd, but it was Jeter and his wife the first time out after having their son. But I saw the woman that they were sitting next to the whole time because you couldn't miss her. The lady in that gaudy pink dress that was courtside.
Yeah.
Jeter and his wife were right next to her.
Mhm.
I just saw the picture of Jeter today. I'm like, oh, I remember seeing her the whole night.
I wonder if Jeter and A-Rod said hi. So awkward with them. I love it down the stretch of every playoff run in the NBA, like conference finals. Whenever you start seeing other NBA stars at the games, I think that's pretty cool.
I don't know what show. I think I might have been listening to a little Dan Patrick when I was taking my walk yesterday, and one of the Danettes made the comment. It's like whoever shows up at a Lakers game is immediately linked to the Lakers. Oh, Trae Young was at the Lakers game. He's going to the Lakers.
It's because Kyrie was there.
Well, Trae Young was too.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I know, but it's like anybody that goes to a Laker game,
right?
And
we're getting Trae.
I think it was the one that made the point. It's like most of these players live in LA in the offseason.
Yes,
right.
That's the summer basketball city, right?
Absolutely, that in Miami. Yeah, I'm sure A-Rod, part owner of the Timberwolves, has a house in Miami. Hey, Ant, I know you love Miami. I know you love basketball. Come to this game with me.
Mark,
say no?
You're the music guy. I didn't realize that the Beatles had a different bassist. Apparently, former bassist for the Beatles died at 81. His name's Stuart Sutcliffe.
Not that I'm aware of. Thought this guy McCartney did it.
No, Chaz Newby, former bassist for the Beatles, dead at 81.
Okay.
So the original bassist apparently was Stuart Sutcliffe. He went away to pursue an art career. He was a member of Lennon's first band, the Quarrymen.
Which was not the Beatles.
Right.
I mean,
he stepped in for the Beatles for a few dates when Sutcliffe went to Hamburg and gotcha. Oh, okay. So I guess really early days. He filled in a few times. I was going to say, I mean, like, nobody's got a picture of them or, or anything with the guys.
Here we go.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts and predictions coming up in less than 20 minutes. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So, we mentioned it yesterday. We didn't spend any time on it, though. Obviously, the talking head shows nationally, we're going to spend a ton of time on it. So this guy with the Lakers mentioned the R word. After getting eliminated from the playoffs late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. Freaked a few people out. Mark, do you believe that this is LeBron being his calculated self? And that
100%.
So you think that this is a warning shot directed at the Lakers front office?
It's a warning shot. It's I'm taking the first few weeks of the season off regardless because of the foot surgery that I'm going to have, and you better get me some players here. I don't think LeBron does anything that's not calculated.
And you and I are both LeBron guys, but I don't disagree. The one thing that surprised me, if you believe that this is calculated, the timing of it surprised me a little bit. That he didn't have to go public with this. He could have done it privately. But here's the other thing, Mark. He's 38. Like, there's not a sense of urgency. I mean, how much longer is he going to play? I mean, seriously. He says he wants to play with his son. By the way, quick sidebar. Bronny's apparently got NIL deals worth $8 million. I mean, have you seen the sponsors that have lined up to pay him money? Apparently, if he sends out a tweet, it's worth $77,000 worth of marketing. In terms of how many followers. Well, just saying, if he markets your product.
And he sends out a tweet, I had lunch today. How does that help me? What's this? I find these numbers sometimes stupid.
And that's fine. But I'm just saying that in the marketing world, if he were to send out a tweet promoting your product, apparently for the number of people who follow him on Twitter, and then therefore they assume, what percentage of that would actually see the tweet, that a tweet from Bronny is worth $77,000. But here's a quick sidebar, by the way. It's his dad's dream to play with his son. I mean, if you were 18 years old, and I understand he's, grown up, his family's got money, the whole deal, he's had a good life. Okay, but, I mean, Mark, college is a lot of fun. And if you're making $8 million a year, I mean, you're going to make less in the NBA. Your rookie deal ain't going to be what you're making at USC. It's not. These companies are paying him what apparently they are paying him, and it's added up to $8 million. He will make more money at USC than he will on his rookie deal in the NBA.
Right, but the companies that are aligning with him for the NIL and giving him money while he's in college, I would assume a lot of those money would stick with him when he turns pro. Those would just become endorsement deals. I don't know how his value of a tweet goes down when he becomes a pro player. That just seems, I mean, he's not going to lose any. What's he going to lose? Followers when he goes to the pros?
Well,
he's going to gain followers.
Well, let me tell you, who's going to see more of his games? I mean, here's the other thing. USC
No, stop for a second, David. I'm not talking. I don't give a damn about any of his games. What you just said was, if he sends out a tweet, it's worth $77,000. Okay. Right. He goes pro. He's not going to lose any followers. That's still worth the same amount of money.
Okay.
That's all. I'm not talking about the fact that USC games are going to be on. I get that. All of those games are going to be on. That's a benefit for USC.
Okay. I just think if he ends up with the Indiana Pacers, okay, that actually he's more marketable with USC. The whole LA thing. But
I see your point, but once you're in the league, you're in the league.
yeah, and then you're not playing. I mean, that's the other thing. If he rushes himself to the NBA, he ain't going to be playing. I mean, there's a whole debate as to whether he's really a 5-star recruit. He's probably no better than a 4-star. He was a 3-star at the beginning of the year.
It's the same thing was said about Arch Manning.
Right.
That the stars may have been added because of the last name.
And he might not even start at USC. They got a top 20 team. They got the number 1 point guard in the country who signed with them, and their best player who averages 18 points a game is a guard. And Bronny's a guard. I mean, so
I don't know what to tell you, Andy. You better have a 3-guard system to get that sucker ready to go.
I don't
because
know.
you've taken calls from parents before. This one will be a little different.
I might want to bring him off the bench. I'm trying for attendance and all that. It's Los Angeles. It'll be late arriving crowd. I don't want to start him. I want to bring him in at about the 6-minute mark. That's just when everybody's sitting down.
Boy, the Big Ten Network certainly got a coup with this one.
But anyway, back to his dad. I mean, does he really have to say or do anything? Like, if you're running the Lakers, I mean, how much time do you think you really have? I mean, come on. He's 38. He's not going to get any better also.
Nope.
He needs the most help he's ever needed, or at least since he was, 20 in Cleveland.
He could have used a little bit in this last series.
Well, right. But I mean, come on. If you're running the Lakers, do you really need LeBron to threaten you with retirement? You've got borrowed time here. It could just be 1 year. If he's hell bent on playing with his kid, and his contract ends at the end of next year, by the way. Okay. I mean, and he did that intentionally so that when his kid, if his kid were to be one and done and his kid ends up wherever, that LeBron could end up wherever. I mean, do you really think the whole league is going to lay down and till the Lakers come on the clock so they could pick Bronny? Hell no. If you get his dad to come with him, seriously? I mean, you pick him in the lottery if you can get 1 or 2 years of his dad. I don't care if he is 40.
Now, after next season, LeBron has a $57 million player option.
Right. And he's going to wait to see where his kid, if his kid declares for the draft, he's going to wait to see where his kid gets drafted.
If he chooses to take that, the historic amount of tampering that will happen to make sure that he ends up in LA, Bronny.
Plus, I don't think the Lakers have any picks. Haven't they traded away damn near everything till about 2029?
Right.
Will be fascinating if he doesn't start at USC and he comes out after 1 year.
Right. How many 6 men off the bench are one and done?
Tyler Hero.
Let's just go through Kentucky players. I'm sure there's more than that.
Lonnie Walker. He came up.
That's true. It's just Kentucky's a bad. Forgot
Sorry.
about Calipari. You'd be the 8th guy in the rotation and be one and done there.
I'm only here. It's just a place setter. It's all that is.
Don't worry. The Knicks will draft you. Got enough former Kentucky guys in that front office. I don't know. I just didn't think he had to be. To me, if I'm running the Lakers, I would have picked up the phone and said, LeBron, no blank. Okay, really, you didn't have to do this. And besides, if you want to have surgery and you want to come back at the Christmas, the All-Star break, do what you got to do, okay? But you don't have to threaten us with retirement we know, LeBron. We know we're on borrowed time here. Have a nice offseason.
And he knows he's on borrowed time. I mean, he even said, I'm better than 90% of the players in the league, maybe 95. Think about just LeBron saying that out loud. He thinks a lot of himself, and he should.
Yeah, it's true.
He's not wrong.
Yes or no? Is he the best player on the Lakers? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, right. By the way, you were just talking about the Panthers trade. Okay. Should the Lakers make that kind of move with AD?
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Does it make sense to say that I think LeBron is better than AD, but I think AD is more valuable than him?
Yeah, you can say that.
Just because, especially from a trade value, he is a lot more valuable than LeBron James.
Well, he's 8 years younger and he's cheaper.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, DeSantis apparently going to announce today on Twitter.
On Twitter with Musk.
Announce for what?
His candidacy.
Oh.
It's going to apparently a few high-profile Trump donors have decided they're going with Ron also.
Hold up, with Musk? As
Yes.
in like
Yeah.
Elon Musk is his vice president? Or
No.
Oh.
As in the guy who owns Twitter.
Oh. Oh.
He's going on with Elon Musk in a Twitter space or whatever to
Right.
announce his candidacy for president.
I see. I see.
Yep. Guillermo, no monthly payments, just an emptying of an account. That's all. And Empire, there's no doubts. There are times where you back up the truck and you just leave the keys to the truck on the dash.
Oh, gosh. So whoever, and I don't know who this person is, so I don't know. Okay. She works for former sports anchor, chief marketing, works in baseball. Morgan Rumpf, whoever that is, works on TV. Am I late to the game? I just tweeted this out. I just noticed Dunkin' Donuts started charging $25 cents for less ice in drinks. I cannot wait for David Moulton to order a Coke with no ice, or a Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi with no ice, and have 25 cents added onto his bill for less ice. I would pay so much money to be there to see that.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The home stretch of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. 22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Ever miss any part of the show? Go to floridasportsnetwork.com. Download what you missed, which today included a couple segments with Pat Kirwan and our regular weekly segment with Seth Everett.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Starting 1775, John Hancock is unanimously elected the president of the Continental Congress. 1830, Mary Had a Little Lamb, first published. 5 minutes later, someone was playing it on a recorder. 1844, Samuel Morse taps out the world's first telegraph message.
What was it?
What hath God wrought?
We should have. Samuel, you were ahead of your time, buddy. Ahead of your time. That should have been the first tweet.
1883, the Brooklyn Bridge opened.
Tell you what, and this is not Northeast bias. This is all the stuff that we've built in this country in the mid to late 19th century and early 20th century. Do you ever just show up, go over a bridge in a city and stop and go, man, how'd they built? Or you go through a tunnel. The tunnels are the ones that always stop me in my tracks when I, growing up in the Northeast and go Holland Tunnel, Lincoln Tunnel. And it's like, how did you guys even do this? There's water up above.
And David, you're right. Everything you say, I can't disagree with a word you say. And I know you've been lucky enough to travel to Ireland for college football. And I spent 6 weeks in Europe when I was in college. It's one thing to go back 150 years ago. When you start going back centuries and centuries and centuries to see the stuff that they built. then you really go, what in the hell?
And it also, though, then makes you really angry. So how come the big dig was 10 years late? What the heck?
We jump all the way to 1967 when the AFL grants a franchise to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Paul Brown's revenge.
1969, Get Back is the number one song in the land by the Beatles, but Sugar Sugar is released by the cartoon band The Archies today. It would be the Billboard Song of the Year.
Hey, we were going through rough times, Mark, in the 60s. Okay, we were killing people, leaders in our country, the war. It just, we got to give them. We got to give the folks, this whole civil rights thing, water hosing people. I mean, Kent State was a year away. I mean, we got to cut them some slack.
Bowie releases Diamond Dogs today in 74. The Islanders beat the Flyers today in 1980. In their first final appearance, they get the win in 6.
In overtime, Bobby Nystrom, the game winner. CBS did not have the rights to hockey. The first 5 games of that series, it was very difficult to find, was, I believe, a Saturday afternoon, and CBS bought the rights for 1 game to televise it.
86, Les Habitants beat Calgary in 5 for the Stanley Cup. In 87, at 47 years old, Al Unser Sr. wins his record-tying 4th Indy 500.
Remember when the Indy 500 was a BFD?
I wish it still was, because a lot of these today was a day wins, this Indy 500 stuff this week. 1990, Edmonton beats the Bruins, their 5th cup in 7 years.
That one without Gretzky. That was the Messier, Curry, Anderson, Coffey one without the great one.
1992, Al Unser Jr. wins to become the first second-generation driver to win the race. And Juan Pablo Montoya wins in 2015, setting the record for the biggest span between 2 victories of 15 years. Those born today that are no longer with us. Daniel Fahrenheit. Probably figured out what he did. Jimmy DeMeritt, Pelle Lindbergh, Hector Camacho, and Heavy D.
Oh, Pelle Lindbergh.
Yeah.
85 Flyers.
Those celebrating birthdays today. A couple of guys you would have for sure had the under on and missed. Tommy Chong's 85. Bob Dylan's 82. Joe Dumars is 60. John C. Riley is 58. Rich Robinson from the Black Crowes is 54. Tracy McGrady is 44. And Joey Logano is 33. What did I miss, David?
Well, I don't know what you missed, but just going back to Joe Dumars, because it was just earlier this week that Carmelo Anthony officially retired. Could you imagine if Joe Dumars selected Anthony instead of Darko in that draft? Well, because the Warriors are going through that now. Like this Warriors dynasty might end before it had to. I mean, they had the 2nd pick of the draft 3 years ago and drafted a stiff who they've already traded. In the LeBron, Carmelo, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, 4 of those 5 going in the top 5, Dumars picked the stiff on a Pistons team that was just about to explode. I think they had gotten to the conference final that year, lost to the Nets. And even with Darko, they went to the next 2 finals in 04 and 05. And then in 06, 07, and they went back to the conference finals. And that's with getting nothing out of the 2nd overall pick. Celtics fans would say Lenny bias. Yep, absolutely. Golden State's going through it now, but
how you not draft Melo there blows my mind. He just won the national championship.
Once again, Mark, what position did Darko play? And what position didn't they have? They felt they were solid. This goes back to why teams didn't draft Jordan. Why did Portland take Sam Bowie instead of Michael Jordan? Because they had Clyde Drexler, and they go, well, Jordan and Drexler, they say this play the same position. We need a center. They drafted Sam Bowie. Right. Yeah. I mean, Pistons didn't have a big guy. Okay. They had Rashid, but they thought Rashid needed some help. And he wasn't a true five.
He wasn't really a big.
Right. And he liked to play on the perimeter. He didn't really play to his size. Good player, the whole deal. But, we need a big guy.
Would have even been better in today's game.
Oh, yeah. And so they don't draft Carmelo, D. Wade, Chris Bosh. Yeah. Unbelievable.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Oakland County in Michigan for the good, where Michigan State Police troopers had to respond to a traffic call of a runaway cow on I-75. It took a group of wranglers on horses and four-wheelers on the shoulder of I-75 to capture the cow. Shut down traffic for a short time, but the cow and everybody else safe.
Have you ever lived in a part of the country in which when they turned on the TV in a storm, they were giving you like a livestock traffic report like that? It's like a highway such and such is shut down because we used to have to do those all the time in North Dakota, all the time.
Never lived anywhere where that happened, David.
The best was when you had to look at the cameraman and go, I need you to drive 40 miles west in a storm to shoot the buffalo that are walking across I-94. He's like, I'm going to risk my life for 20 seconds of buffalo? I go, damn right. It's the only thing anybody's going to be talking about in the news tonight.
For the bad, we go back to Volusia County, where deputies responded about hearing reports of a crash early Sunday morning. Upon arrival, they found a pickup truck that had crashed into a utility pole, but the driver wasn't at the scene. Less than an hour later, deputies responded to a home nearby of getting reports of a burglary of a naked man banging on the door. The naked man was Kevin Gardner. He was seen with injuries on his face and legs. He said that the truck was stolen. Then he said he had seizures and didn't remember anything. Then he agreed to do a breath test and was well higher than the legal limit. He was arrested on charges of burglary and indecent exposure because he was naked at the time, as I mentioned at the porch, and leaving the scene of a crash. Nice night for Kevin. Finally, the ugly. Where the hell is it?
I don't know. The last one was borderline. It really was.
We go to Williamson County, where a man's accused of stealing a backhoe, driving at 10 miles to an airport to catch a flight.
Those things don't go very fast, you know.
Timothy Baggett stole the backhoe and drove it to the airport, catching a flight to the West Coast from Illinois. He arrived at the airport, parked the backhoe in the parking lot, and then walked from the backhoe carrying a guitar case into the airport lobby where he got on a flight.
You know what he should have done? He should have just pulled up, left it running, and left the keys in it, and just gone in. I think eventually enough phone calls would have been made. You know, the guy probably who had his backhoe stolen would have been like, oh, we got it at the airport.
That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 24th, 2023.
Could you imagine that public address announcement, by the way, in the airport? Yes, there's a backhoe running in front of arrivals. Would somebody please move their backhoe? You need to move it in the next 10 minutes or it will be towed. Would the owner of the yellow backhoe please return to the arrivals gate and move your backhoe or it will be towed in the next 10 minutes? That would have been awesome.
He'll have plenty of people waiting for him on that return flight when he comes back to Illinois.
Can you reach 15 miles an hour in a backhoe?
Not much more than that. So it took him about an hour probably to go to the 10. I mean, how do you get away with driving a backhoe 10 miles without getting pulled over?
Okay, I will say, if you live, because I know I've told you the story, all right? I lived within a few blocks of the TV station, and when it snowed and we had the storms out in North Dakota, we couldn't travel the 3 blocks to get in. And Mark, I got picked up by the backhoe, by the county shovel people. They would come, I'd get in the payloader, they would lift it off the ground, and they would drive me to work in my suit with my makeup bag. But it still took 5 minutes to go the 3 blocks, though. I have no idea how you make your flight in a backhoe. That's impressive. All right. Everybody's playing in baseball today. Wednesday can be a getaway day, so 5 of the games are in the afternoon. Rays are playing tonight, however. McClanahan on the hill, minus 205. Wow, that's a lot. By the way, he's going up against the pitchers 5-1. Although
right.
But his ERA is double McClanahan's. But still, minus 205. Can McClanahan get to 8-0? But then again, this one decides who wins the series, right? So Rays hosting Jays, and Marlins try to avoid the 3-game sweep in Colorado. Alcantara's minus 165. He lost, by the way, that start in San Francisco. So he's like 1-5.
With a 5.05 ERA as well.
But he's going up against an opener who's thrown 4 innings this year, and his ERA is like 8. So the Marlins are minus 165. No basketball. You know, Denver's already in the finals. But we got hockey tonight, Fort Lauderdale. Do the Panthers do it, Mark?
I think they get it done tonight.
I'm not saying a word. I mean, first, I'm down to $6.17. So
just take the keys out of the ignition.
Right. Okay. Last night I backed up the truck. Tonight I'm backing up the Mini Cooper.
Like you can afford that. You're backing up the bicycle after last night.
I really am. I'm walking to the game.
You're just walking backwards, beeping while you walk.
Exactly. Anybody got a backhoe? I'd like to go to the Panthers game tonight. Miller and Moulton. We'll do this tomorrow. We'll see if the Panthers are in the finals and can the Heat join them. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and